Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking with us through that slight delay to start there. Let's not waste any time then. We are here with our final week now of the group season for Korean Contenders Season 1. I had Matt Pixie Carroll. Joining me on the other half of the screen is Kevin Averill Walker. And we've got a great set of matches tonight and an even better set of matches tomorrow night.
That's right, because it is the final week of the regular season here in Contenders Korea. This is what it all comes down to. We've already eliminated a couple of teams. We're in a stage where we're having to finalize what our seedings are going into the interleague, as explained here as well. You see that regular season over towards the left. That's what we've been playing for. A 1 through to 5, B 1 through to 5 as well. And the top four seeds from both go into the interleague.
And add that into league. That'll be coming up next week, of course, where we'll trim that 8 teams down to 7. Then we kick it into the playoffs with the bubble race, the step ladder format there. So we've been talking at great length about how much those seeds actually matter and what can happen, what can still change. Let's go ahead and actually take a look at those standings to see where that flexibility may get life for some of these teams. Because, of course, on both sides of it here, you have on the right-hand side, Group B, Genji. They are mathematically eliminated. They are done for. You've still got both Runaway and Team Diamond who can swap positions, but nobody who isn't already in the top two, and this is true for both teams, nobody not already in the top two can make it into the top two. Now that first and second are locked in, the question remains who is actually going to be first place and second place, but tonight is more about Group A and more about who can finish where.
So we are going to be taking a look at our matches in just a minute as well. It's going to come down to WGS and Team BM. One of these two teams, actually, they're not going to do anything. WGS are locked in third, BM are locked in
Yep.
fourth. So these two teams are fine. We're just playing for fun, guys. It's fine. Sometimes you play
Yeah.
Overwatch, you just play it for fun, and the result doesn't matter. Don't worry too much about rank. That's what WGS and BM are here for tonight. Just a bit of laughs, really. They can't change their positioning at all. It's really on the Group B side of things
Yeah.
where it's going to get a bit frisky because those teams are the ones that can still change a little bit, at least in the top kind of level there. As you mentioned, as far as the bottom goes, the top goes, it's pretty much locked in. Runaway versus Team Diamond. The winner of that is going to be third place. The loser is going to be fourth place. And being that the case, you're going to see the result of the seed into the interleague as well. 4 versus 4, 3 versus 3, and we've already talked at length about this, Matt. But like being the highest seed here really is important.
It really does change a lot of things here. Yeah, and I had meant to say Group B earlier in terms of what could actually shift up tonight, but obviously we kick things off first of all with WGS versus Starlight, so we'll kind of hold and reserve some of that talk about the seed difference and what that's going to mean for the second matchup tonight. This one is more going to be a case of getting it over the line, and that's especially for WGS Phoenix here. The reason I say that is because Starlight Gaming, they're looking like the weakest team in the group. WGS, we were actually considering that BM might be a reasonably good team in this group, potentially pushing for a third place finish, maybe even tickling the likes of CC and O2 Blast. And then WGS beat them. So now WGS, they've secured that third seed. What they want to do is they want to have a great finish to the season. If they slip up, if they look shaky versus Starlight here, then you have to question how good they're actually going to be coming into the playoffs, where the competition is going to be way, way stiffer than Starlight.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quite the journey so far. Starlight Gaming are the type of team that, it wouldn't surprise me if they went 0-4 tonight. But at the same time, I think Starlight Gaming still have a little bit to show. We
It would
saw the
surprise me
rosters
if they
there
went
as
0 and
well.
4 tonight because usually we go to the first 3 maps if it's a.
Sure. But so Starlight Gaming, so for Starlight Gaming, they have at least changed one member here. We're looking towards the fact that Starlight Gaming, I mean, they're the type of team that, to be fair, they haven't really done a lot. They're 0-9. They haven't won a single map. Could they take one tonight? Maybe it's, with the pressure's off. This is the chance. This is the opportunity. WGS have been looking better and better as we've gone through the weeks. WGS started, I think, a little bit shaky. Got that win versus BM, and that's kind of what really shot WGS up. And I think you're right. I mean, if WGS don't have a good showing versus Starlight, that could really kind of sow some seed of doubt into how WGS could do in the rest of the tournament in the interleague.
Yeah, it would definitely set off the alarm bells. So make no mistake there. By the way, that isn't actually the map set for tonight. That was the map set for last week. So we'll have the actual one they're going to be playing. And my hunch is that we start on Lijiang Tower. By hunch, I mean I'm currently hearing the intro music for Lijiang Tower. So really, my hunches are predicated on pre-existing knowledge. This is the casting equivalent of insider trading, and I'm a fraud.
At least I appreciate the honesty, and
Yeah, I mean,
more people
I
need to
was saying
be
it,
like
and I'm
that.
like, I don't want to lie to my audience. I want to be honest.
That's good. I think honesty is good. Always a fan of honesty towards the audience, especially here's the real map set lead. I'm going to start things out with, followed by Kings Road, Dorado, Hanamura, and Nepal. See if we get that far. Obviously, this is going to be the
Big if.
map set for the entire night for both of our teams, all 4 of our teams, I should say, but definitely our 2 starting out here. But WGS versus SLT, here we go. Map number 1 on Control Center.
And yeah, I just kind of want to bring us back to that key point for what we're actually looking for out of these teams. Obviously for Starlight, like, you know, if you are looking at this team and considering what might be in the future, you know, if not for this team, then even for some of the players on this team, then, you know, you are looking for a good performance, like you kind of mentioned. Now that the pressure's off, maybe they can just kind of punch above their weight a little bit. Sometimes that's the difference maker. For WGS, we need to see a strong performance. We don't want to see big shaky slip-ups or anything. And this is interesting, running out the gate with a Doom Fist on Vulture. I'm kind of digging it, though I do wonder if it's maybe a little bit of hubris. It has started to work so far at the very least. I mean, he is dead, but the team is winning the fight, is what I really mean to say there. So with that, WGS, they are going to get that opening skirmish. We'll be able to get the opening point as well.
Specifically designed to destroy the Symmetra, I think, in this composition. That's where you see time now is going to change over. Typically, if you lose that first fight, you do swap off the Sim anyway. Junkrat's good from November here. It's great into the rush composition. And as far as the Doomfist goes, beyond just kind of wrecking that Sim, Doom is actually slightly coming back into the meta as far as ball comps go, especially on a map like Control Center. So Vulture, finding a bit more value would be pretty good. November now moving over towards the May. So Vulture, the next time he dives in, could be in trouble.
Now WGS just kind of laying down the amplification matrix, and there as it is, yeah, he will indeed be in trouble. Misha's own amp matrix is out, but the trade, I think, favors WGS still with Emolga dead. Hayam as well as, wackily enough, Fixer's the ones that collect that one. Another looking to go down here before too long. Fixer's on a tear. He's going to find Misha. He's going to find another as well. This guy's the real carry of the team, make no mistake.
And Fixer, you know, he comes from T1 of last season in Contenders. T1, as we know, didn't have a really great season. Fixer, a player that didn't really stand out, but now maybe finally on WGS. Already a great opening here. Moving towards the sound barrier, getting those kills for WGS as well. Still in control, 47%. Here we go, grab.
And that's going to be the combination to lean on, and look at that, so beautifully laid down. I mean, maybe it's a few too many ultimates. It's the grab, it's the shatter, it's the deadeye, but at the same time, I mean, Starlight aren't really close on a lot of these ultimates anyway. I don't feel like that's an overinvestment for WGS at all.
One of the few times I'm not like screaming about the 6-man shatter either. I mean, it's the grab, like I said, possibly no commitment. It's going straight to spawn. Yeah, spawn camping.
Wow.
I am dead already.
That was actually really nice, just popping the shield up, and before that immortality field had laid down, Sparrow was able to find the headshots. It is a 2-for-2 though, so this is a little bit of a dicey one for WGS, but as long as Spirit is able to back away and get back to the point, they should be okay here. And indeed, just that fact that that was so close to the spawn means the dead members of WGS have time to get back here anyway.
One of the few matchups where spawn camping does work quite well. I mean, you look towards SLT, they got the full brawl, there's no traces here, there's no sombras. On back camping, WGS, they, you know, as far as we losing members, they are going to pull back. Final fight now.
That sound barrier coming in very nicely. Vulture getting completely shut down there, and yeah, WGS could have fallen over on that one. And that was actually just good play by Starlight. They laid down the amplification matrix. They had a bit of a window there, and WGS had to respect it. They had to back away. Tried to get a bit of an entry. Sound barrier comes in. That is the one trade kill there on Misha, so certainly not out of the woods just yet with Kalios committing the grab. He's got a lot of charge, but they don't really have the kills to boot. WGS trying to go for a quick reset, but with Kalios dead, Fixer on the retreat, I don't think it's going to happen. No, he takes one with him.
Yeah, I don't think it's really much of a reset considering they even went for the grab. They're actually getting a decent amount of kills as we get into this. Blizzard might catch a few, but Spirit's got a lot here.
The fight has now been so protracted that WGS are getting more and more members back in. Sperry even catching one with the quick deadeye there as well, finding Overwatch. The regrab coming through as well, so SLT not able to capitalize on their gains, only picking up 33%, most of which was still just one protracted fight.
I mean, for WGS, they really... We look back at their last fight as well, like you said, protracted fight. They never really reset. It looked to me like potentially a wasted grab from Kalios, but for WGS, they trade positively. You mean, Sparrow's coming back in on this McCree and doing tons of damage. Didn't expect that Sparrow was going to be the big carry today on McCree. Vulture normally on this team is the guy you're looking out for. It's a lot of these other members, but for WGS, that was quite a performance in Starlight. Massively caught out by how much damage Sparrow's putting out there. So, what could have been Starlight on a bit of a comeback. They're quite a deficit as well, so they would have to have a mount to decline for themselves. Didn't even get the opportunity to get that foot in.
So now coming on to Gardens, we'll have to see if their fortunes can change. Hayam over onto the Sombra. I think I personally prefer him on this pick. But Vulture also on this on the Echo. I mean, that's a huge threat, honestly. Vulture's Echo is pretty standout.
Spare on the Tracers here as well, so WGS playing the standard dive, SLT playing the rush variation. You see the Lucio Moira combo. Trying to get themselves into combat with WGS very quickly as well. You haven't seen a lot of Sombra damage. I say that, but gets the kill into Vulture. That's good.
Yeah, super critical. Hey, I'm getting the manual hack onto Vulture to allow him to go down. And now WGS, they're trying to make a lot with a little. Arpen, luckily not dying here, but Starlight should be able to get the point cap. WGS just trying to keep a bit of pressure applied. As soon as Vulture's back in, they go. And look at that, 2 kills already collected. Just no hesitation to dive onto Starlight, who actually have a coalescence, and they're only just now committing 2 members down with only the 1 counter trade. Mulga still getting demeched despite this coalescence. WGS taking ownership of the point despite the coalescence. And overall, Starlight, once again, it feels like they're not able to capitalize on the gains they had made by getting the opening skirmish and the opening point cap.
And the opening kill as well. I mean, they got Vulture down, but the 6v5 wasn't good enough for Starlight. They didn't get the coalescence, so a little bit later on, the coalescence comes in, but they're starting to lose even more than that. They dropped an extra member, and for Starlight, you know, it's the advantage. It slips away from them. They play the coalescence anyway because they cap the point. They're trying to extend the fight. They're trying to get as much capture percentage as possible. Maybe bait out a couple of ults from WGS, but it just doesn't help SLT. They had no other further ultimates coming online. The EMP was too far away, and now for this fight, Hayam needs to drop a big one.
They've got one, but Arong has got a Transcendence. Even then, actually, Arong popped the Transcendence before the EMP came out, but Hayam just gets killed anyway, so what does it even matter? Another able to pop a Primal Rage, but with November dead, he's just in a tanking for no DPSs right now. I don't know that Starlight Gaming are going to find a lot of mileage if they stay in this fight for longer. Imoga is able to reset the mech, actually, and another has found 2 kills on the supports. Does go down, but you got November coming in. Hayam as well. 4-man EMP. That's everyone left alive. WGS starting to drop like flies, and Starlight, another really pulling the team back from the brink there.
Vulture getting pooped off the edge as well, so that's a duplicate gone. Starlight, here we go. A fight win that goes their way. It's finally something for Starlight where we look back at Control Center, really was pretty much a 100-0. Now, it's the 30% to work with as tempo is going to be really important here. Vulture coming back on his own Sombra. He'll be 26% or so behind Hayam. And we need to see Starlight convert onto very early trades here. They have won this ultimate in the WGS.
They don't exactly have a great one. It's just the self-destruct. Overwatch is already down to Spira, and the self-destruct didn't even zone Spira off the point. Kalios with the manual hack there, but he's going to be just fine. Tempo transcended, super aggressive from Arong, and I actually really respect that. They're wanting to close this fight out quickly now that they've got the point grab as well. The faster they can do it, the less ultimate charge these members of Starlight are actually going to get.
It's not taking too long for WGS just to have the advantages in the trades. SLT, I mean, Hayam's on nearly an EMP now. This is going to go towards 99% for WGS. I don't suspect SLT are going to be into a fight fast enough, and they really need to be because they're playing the Lucio Moira. They're sticking onto the Lucio Moira. They don't have great defenses against the EMP when it does come online for Vulture, and maybe for WGS they won't even need it. Rally's going to get popped pretty soon, and when that happens, WGS can go.
Self-destruct was kind of laid forward to disrupt the positioning there as Hayam trying to get that hack off at some point here, but super low, trying to just throw himself in. He does at least connect, fix a first casualty of that. Vulture did also get EMP'd as well, but only the 1 kill. There we go, second one on Arong. This one's traded for another, which isn't great, but Sound Barrier coming up for Overwatch here. Should be into the rescue. No, gets EMP'd out. That means he can't save Misha either, and I think that might just swing it here as Amolga gets the mech. Kalios does go down. No, WGS losing a few too many members now. They will end up losing the point here, but they've got plenty of time, and they're coming up on some pretty serious ultimates as well.
Well, WGS didn't actually get the kills required during the EMP. They got Misha down prior. The EMP catches 3, including Overwatch, but Starlight just lived. The 5 members that are still there, including the 3 that got hacked, still alive. Overwatch drops a Sound Barrier anyway, catches 4 of them, minus another who was safe. Starlight overpowering, using the Sound Barrier advantage for WGS. I mean, that could have been the closer. That should have been the closer. Starlight have a real shot at hitting the 99 now.
Let's see what they can pull off. That's a huge stick. Just completely dunks on Arong, who's so close to a Transcendence. Super critical here. Gonna push WGS, I believe, to reset, and this is gonna let Starlight accrue themselves at 99% here. Maybe even get more kills yet.
Hayam's got EMP as well. Arong's nearly gone towards the Transcendence. You're gonna see that back and forth. WGS, I mean, this really for both teams I think is pretty winnable. Misha towards the Coalescence. There's actually more ultimates online for Starlight. They can initiate this one fast, get the EMP in there, convert onto the Coalescence afterwards. They can definitely get this job done.
It's one of the few times that Wrong is actually going to have a Transcendence that could directly counter an EMP, and I think he seriously needs to use it expressly for that purpose. He can't afford to tempo EMP. There we go. Goes in. Only found Spirit. Does take a pulse bomb off the table, but let's look at what else SLT going to be able to commit here, because there's the self-destruct. It's a Coalescence running. Arpen has been finished off, so it's a huge advantage for Starlight Gaming. WGS, they don't have a lot to work with. They've got to get a lot done with this very little. Victor down as well. It's going to be 2 trades, though. WGS may get pulled back to the brink. The sound barrier, though, to rescue from the EMP. Vulture not quite able to do enough damage. Kalios does get back in the mech, though, and Arpen has rolled back as well. Sperra's in the mix, immediately makes his presence known. Misha gets dropped by Kalios. WGS, 4 versus 6 at the main trunk of the fight, with Starlight Gaming having an ultimate advantage, and they are able to pull this one back. They just outperform when it truly matters.
That last bit on the kill feed there as well, you see Kalios eating the pulse bomb away from November, and that really just tells you the story thematically of WGS versus Starlight, where Starlight, they have the tools required, they have the positioning, they have the player advantage in certain cases, but you need so much more. It feels like WGS individually, as a team in some cases as well, able to overpower Starlight, that even if they're at the deficit, it's not enough for them to lose. They can hold on, they can throw in the extra grab, they can use the extra ultimates, go back to control center, look like they were maybe resetting. They weren't even really resetting. They were kind of slowly, walking back towards spawn, sees an opportunity for a grab, didn't even kill anybody in the grab, the Kalios I'm talking about, and then beyond that, they find 2 kills after the fact, and look towards Gardens. It's a more competitive submap for Starlight Gaming, but when they really should have, I want to say in that last fight, one with the fact that EMP Coalescence is coming in. Was EMP going to get countered by the Transcendence? Absolutely, but there were more ultimates overall for Starlight. They had the initiative as well. EMP doesn't catch enough, in my opinion. Just gets the 1 with Spera. That gives them at least a 6v5. But even then, with a 6v5, that wasn't enough of an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, even then with the 6v4, they actually got another kill, and WGS, not only was it 4 versus 6, it's not like it was 4 versus 6, and then immediately they get 2 kills. They actually had to hold out for a little while with just the 4 of them until they were able to find some trade kills. So that's how long they really had to run on a really low tank of gas, as it were. For obviously, one of the advantages you got is like the people that died was Spera and Arpen, who are 2 of the members that are going to get back to point the fastest. Arpen especially, so that did help them out a little bit there. They didn't have to hold out as long as they would have if it had been, say, the Brigida that had gone down. But overall, it was really telling to me, I think, that it was more competitive when WGS were being a little bit more fast and loose with their resources. They were throwing down ultimates into fights they ended up losing. They were doing a lot more tempo transcendence plays rather than holding on to it to counter EMPs. In fact, twice in a row, it was... The first one, yes. The second one, it was like he used the Transcendence. The EMP was like 70% or something. It was a way off, and they used it to win a fight, and it was a good win, right? But like, point being, when it really mattered, and as I said, as it was going on, like when it really mattered, WGS just kind of outperformed in a pretty ridiculous situation. And I think 99 to 99, sure, but the disparity between the teams was demonstrated very clearly in that closing fight.
It just says to me that WGS know they're the better team. When you have a team that is going to outskill the other one, in this case, we're talking about last place, Starlight Gaming, still haven't won a single map yet. Still, at this point, in the final week, they're winless completely across the board. So WGS having really picked up their paces, especially after beating BM, securing themselves number 3 in Group A. Again, that ranking cannot change. WGS will be finishing 3rd. Starlight Gaming have been eliminated. They can only be last place here, which means they're gone. This is just their last showing. It's for fun. But still, I think taking away a map for the dignity is important for Starlight in their final showing. And the reason why I say this, I'm pointing out the discrepancy between where these teams are. Number 3 versus number 5. In some cases, you might think, doesn't sound like a huge difference. But here, you really are seeing it. WGS are really that much better than Starlight right now, where they can be at a deficit and win. Where they can, use ultimates and play loose, like you sort of said, and still be in a winning position where they can make mistakes. I'm going to be honest, they're not playing clean. They're not playing clean in the way where if you were up against CC or O2 Blast in this group, you would have to be pretty clean, because if you are playing fast and loose, you're going to get punished. But right now, versus a team like Starlight, this kind of style is definitely working out, where it's almost like playing to your opponent's level. I don't want to say disrespect, but it's a sort of style where you know that Starlight's not going to really punish you here. They can't. They're going to win some fights, but they're not going to win the map.
And yeah, you're dead right as well. Like this absolutely just wouldn't fly against other teams. I would even say this wouldn't fly against BM. Which is a team WGS have already beaten, to be clear. So overall, I mean, I guess on like a purely conceptual level, I would actually quite like to see WGS tidy things up a little bit. Again, mainly just for that idea of, demonstrating the form and being in the best possible shape going into playoffs. But look, if they are actually in great shape and they're still just having a fun day of it, right? Like a professional football player can still go do a Sunday kickabout and not try their hardest. Like that's perfectly reasonable. Doesn't mean they're not a professional football player and they can't absolutely
You
hand
need
it to another
Starlight.
professional team. Yeah.
Starlight has to step up here for that to happen.
Exactly. That's really what we'd need to see here for that to come out of WGS. And look, I think there's actually nothing wrong with what WGS are doing with this anyway. But if nothing else, I think what this really shows, and I think we'll see this again in the second matchup tonight, both groups now very clearly have two teams at the top, two teams who are directly below them, and then one team that everyone can beat relatively comfortably. Obviously, in Group B, we've already seen that resolve with Gen G going down 0-4. Starlight Gaming, on the other hand, yeah, the 0-4 hasn't happened yet in terms of their overall group standings, but as you rightly pointed out, they have not won a single map this entire season. I don't know that that's particularly likely to change here. But also, neither WGS nor BM is going to ascend past third place here. So really, it's just the two of them that have scrapped this season over third and fourth. And then in the second match tonight, we'll see that happen between Runaway and Team Diamond.
So really, for now, I mean, this one does feel a little bit like the undercard. I don't want to undersell this game, but as the reminder as well, it's just like the rankings can't change, the results don't change here. It's just a test for both teams. I feel more importantly for WGS, just to see where they're landing. If anything, the biggest takeaway will be if WGS can walk away with this one, playing loose, playing casually, and they get the 3-0, that speaks well to their ability, especially with a new support line as well. I mean, they completely changed up the support line. I'm not going to run through all the reasoning here. I mean, some of it was due to players departing, retirements. I don't know. There were some things going on there. Palapo is like the only remaining support still on WGS, and I don't know if she's going to be playing tonight at all. Maybe. I mean, look, if WGS are stomping Starlight, I suspect that she's going to come in, possibly for this map, most likely for Dorado. And WGS are not going to have to do too many different things here. Hidden might come in. He's that scam player, but for WGS, it doesn't seem like they need to try very hard just yet. And that's not me, throwing the BM and shade over towards Starlight. But yeah, like if you are Starlight, you're going to need to step up a little bit to force WGS to respect you, play a little bit cleaner, and then you're going to get that game.
And just by the way, because it's worth mentioning while we're talking rosters, Starlight, obviously, they have like the single biggest roster in Korean Contenders this season. And we've had a different lineup from them every single time they've played. We have not seen the exact same lineup of 6 members twice across all 4 of their matches so far.
Who's that, Starlight?
Yeah. Because tonight we have
this,
November
well,
in,
well,
who we haven't seen before at all.
This one is the closest I think we have had.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Because November is the only one that's new. He's the only new player on Starlight. Across the board, though, for Starlight, I mean, we've seen Hayam, we've seen Songun, we've seen Gamolga, Alban, Misha. These guys have all existed. I think in the first few weeks, the first couple of matches, that was definitely true for Starlight Game. But let's see how they perform now as, map number 2. Only the one substitution for WGS. It's going to be hidden in. Did mention he's a hit scan player, so moving towards the Trace and Ash, that makes a lot of sense.
And obviously we had the substitution there as Albam comes in here for Starlight. So just the 2 substitutions across the board. Nothing too spicy, nothing too wild. And yeah, it's hidden on the Ash. So let's see how Starlight again want to play the Sombra. I like Hayam on the Sombra. I feel like we didn't get to see him to his fullest potential on Garden.
Well, we need to see him set up here. Find out in a second where he's going to come from. Need to see the early hack coming on through. Obviously, they want to farm the Nano up. They're seeing if Songun can maybe find a little bit of spacing. Trying to take the high ground here. Needs to not die, though. Very low HP.
Does slip away, so that's going to be a lot of ultimate charge for Misha there. Need to get to a little safe spot where they can get that healing going. And yeah, you see the difference that's making. So that Nano should be available before too long now.
Okay, it's not going to be the fastest Nano in the world. Starlight haven't really taken a lot of spacing away. At this stage as well, okay, Hayam, I was going to ask, my biggest question was, where's Hayam right now? Are we setting up for a hack? Are we setting up for some sort of dive?
Misha's stunned. Misha's looking to go down here, and there we go. Yeah, that's going to get finished off by Wrong, the real sniper of this map. I mean, even if he hadn't died, there's no way Starlight could have gone for the push yet. They had to wait for Ham to come back, but the fact that WGS, like, it's not even like that was a crazy 5 vs 6 situation. WGS, they're like, okay, we might as well push on this, see if we can collect more kills, and they get like 3 extra kills off that.
I mean, that's just the cleanup. That's where for Starlight, well, that's also because Starlight kind of half committed. Haim was in position, Sungun wants to go in. Starlight are too far forward at that stage. Say too far forward, I mean, they thought they were going to actually be able to engage, and WGS pounced back, counter dive. Ultimates are up now. We're nowhere near the EMP, by the way. Nano has to come in this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be Nano onto Sungun. Hopefully he can charge up a Primal. That's a decent manual hack onto Hidden, but not going to prevent him from Coach cutting back up to safety here. The hack just didn't last long enough. Vulture does go one of the pulse bomb. November will have his in a moment. Starlight are really taking their time on this.
Yeah, it's been over 2 minutes. We're still just rotating up. They've only just kind of slowly reached towards the high ground. Now the Nano comes on in. No Coach gun, though. That's going to result in a kill.
Ooh, very nice there onto Hidden. Sungun, yeah, may well get a Primal before too long off the back of this. That's really important. And Hayam's looking to actually charge an EMP as well. So this is a man advantage and soon to be ultimate advantage. Wrong.
No Primal.
Getting aggressive. That's a tempo transcendence. No Primal. You're dead right. And actually may yet kill off Emolga and Misha. A lot of pressure come down. The EMP, though, across on 5 members. This is the breakpoint. If November and Hayam can just collect a huge rack of kills, they can do this. But no, I don't think they can. The EMP has run out now. Starlight only got the 1 kill on Fixer through all of that. Arpen still hasn't gone down despite the extra manual hack. It took so long for him to die, and by the time he has, Vulture has been able to pick up a kill. They've picked up another one as well, and Starlight have been reset.
I mean, the problem here is the EMP comes down, but the team's dead. Mulga's dead, Sungun's dead. You have no damage coming through from your tanks. You have no Winston. That Winston cleave would have been fantastic there. We're talking about the Primal Rage that was missing. That would have been great as well. Misha was dead, so the extra healing, the extra Bionade, the extra anything from the Ana was missing. Here's a 1-for-1 trade that might mean something, though.
That is quite a critical one, but eyes on Sungun. If he can get a Primal Rage off, they may be in business. Even Emolga. I don't actually think Emolga died. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
SLT gotta go.
He hasn't actually got a whole lot of charge. That hasn't changed much. November dies to Hidden as well, so SLT, they're just waiting around for nothing now.
Well, they're waiting for the grab. I mean, they're trying to take some high ground here. They're seeing if November can respawn. That's actually going to be the grab. Gone!
That's big. Oh my goodness. Into the kinetic grasp, no less. Like, that is not easy to do. That's pretty incredible. And with that, I think Starlight, I mean, they're just right out of gas there. Kalios kind of forcibly siphoning that away from their ramshackle forward escort. So, WGS, easy cleanup, full hold, no sweat, no bones about it.
It's like every single time Starlight want to get something done, the initial game plan is there. All right, get Haim to the back line. He's going to be the Tracer. Sorry, the Sombra. Will be the same if he was Tracer, but Sombra in this case. Use the Invis, run towards the back, find the angle, connect the manual hack, start farming, and let's connect the dive in there. He dies solo to Arong. And I got to say, so far, for this map specifically, Arong's Zen on the defense really did a number onto SLT, especially for finding those initial picks and the initial damage to ruin the dive, to ruin the push. And it feels like every single time Starlight are nearly ready to get something done there, someone's dead, someone's picked off. The one time, excuse me, they got only 1 nano, I believe, and the one time we saw the nano, it was good enough to kill Hidden, but I thought was felt a little bit weird in the execution, because like they took the high ground, and instead of just flushing the rest of WGS through the high ground and then committing the nano late, they played that one as if they actually just came in dry from the ground and had nothing to work with. So I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but it was just a bit of a weird passage of play despite getting the kill to hit him. But then as classic Starlight would show you here, they didn't convert onto anything further. Then obviously in a later fight, we're waiting for the grab. November dies, and that messes up with the timing of the dive again. And then the grab gets eaten away. So
there's a thing
Starlight can't do anything.
Yeah, there's a thing I could really respect, and I want to get this in quick because I don't know that this half is going to last that long, but Arong in that same passage of play committed a tempo transcendence again, and this was with Hayam on like 95%. Obviously, he doesn't know that Hayam is on exactly 95%, but like, they knew the EMP was imminent, they knew the Primal Rage was imminent, and they'd lost Hidden, and they're sat at the other end of the corridor, and they go, okay, we can sit here, get altered, and eventually lose this fight 5v6, or we can tempo transcendence, try and pick up some kills now, and make it so that even if the EMP comes across Overwatch. They don't have enough members alive to close out the fight. That's exactly what happened. I got a huge respect for Aaron for doing that, and look at that dive. That is the difference between these two teams. Remember how long it took for Sungan to get that same kill onto Hidden on the defense, and that was with a nano boost. RP just gets it straight on the dry dive. Exactly, one tick is all that's necessary, and Starlight Gaming are already struggling to keep boots on this point.
I mean, that's going to be it. Sungan's down. November's gone as well. Starlight have no one alive, and we are done and dusted. 2 maps for WGS, and for Starlight still in the season, completely winless. No maps. What is it now? 0-11? Could it be 0-12? Yep. That would be, honestly, very sad for Starlight Gaming, as would they be the only team that are completely 0-12?
Yeah, they would be. Genji has traded maps.
That's correct. Genji are at -10. They've at least gotten 2 maps.
Yeah, also just want to say, completely winless, and so far in this match, completely pointless as well. That's not me throwing shade. They haven't scored a single point. Yeah, they went 0-2 on Lijiang Tower. They went 0-2 on Lijiang Tower, and because they failed to cap A on King's Road, they have 0 points for that as well. And it is fully possible on Dorado that they don't cap point A as well. They would pick up not a single point in their final series of this tournament. But look, that all comes up in a little bit. We're not quite there yet. It is certainly looking rough, and you may want to look away. So we're going to give your eyes a little bit of reprieve so that you can, I don't know, look at some kittens, and then come back in a couple of minutes ready to watch Starlight get eviscerated. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, where we are about to witness a murder. The culprit, the entire rest of Group A. In
Sounds
fact,
like a fast trial then.
at this point, I'm pretty sure Starlight are actually already dead. And what this is WGS are the investigator who has gone down to the morgue, pulled the body out, and has just stabbed it again for good measure.
So that's quite graphic.
Visceral, yes.
Um, Lucky this is a late night broadcast, unless you're in Europe. Good morning. As we head towards Dorado, which is at night, and I would like to see if there's going to be is this Polapo's chance to come back for WGS at the same time as well? Is it Starlight's chance to get themselves a map win? As a reminder, they're currently 0-11 in map record this season, being that they haven't won a single map. So this will be the final chance, or one of the final chances, realistically speaking. I have not personally seen enough from Starlight to have any sort of confidence they can win the series. Could they win a map? I think if WGS overstepped too much, started making more mistakes, and Starlight were able to capitalize on those mistakes, then Starlight could possibly get a map.
Yeah, I mean, it would be WGS's hubris, and Starlight would also have to capitalize on that hubris. And let's be clear as well, like WGS have already been, I kind of use the term, a bit fast and loose in this series, and it hasn't been entirely as punished as I think a better team would have done. So yeah, that's really a more long-winded way of saying I entirely agree. Who is Bono, aside from the singer of U2? But that doesn't look like him. And Frong.
So Bono is
Frong for a wrong. That is blowing my mind right now.
So Frong is he's one of the guys that was. To be fair, Bono was also announced. Frong, I remember that name. I'm gonna look that up in a second. Another comes in for Sungooden, and so for Starlight, that's gonna be one substitution. Albam's still in, so that's fine. I am starting onto the Sombra for WGS and see what they're gonna do with their new flex tank. Look, if you're gonna put Kalios out for another person, that's one of your more important members gone, so WGS might just be flexing the roster a little bit.
That's certainly how it feels. I mean, these are players we haven't seen head nor hair of this entire season, so maybe even a little bit surprised to kind of have them coming in here. But, look, if they feel they can still pick up the win anyway, then power to them. And with the early kill onto a Mulga here, WGS, the pressure just continues to mount. And Arpen has been the closest to death of anyone, and even then, not even significantly threatened. And look at that. The dive, the clean kills, the really nice pickups. 3 more members dead, only 2 left alive, and it's just Ham and November. Absolutely no contest.
This really is just a cleanup from WGS now. I mean, this feels like if it wasn't for the fact that Starlight is significantly weaker than WGS, you'd be pulled to thinking this is like the championship WGS roster that won Contenders Korea in Season 2 last year. This is WGS looking the best they have all season, although to be fair, the competition is not the greatest right now. Ultra Beam's another down. Yeah, it's just...
Misha's in trouble, Emolga's in trouble. It just keeps on going. Arpen does go down in the counter trade here, but I mean, how much of a counter trade really is it? And you know what this is starting to look like? It's starting to look like every other team in this group got to have a party at SLT's house, and then, or I don't know, SLT are the party. I don't know. I haven't thought this metaphor through very well. The net effect is now it's Monday, and WGS are the cleaning lady, and they've come to put SLT away and tidy up after all the other teams who have had a great time.
What you did is you took your joke/reference to the morgue and you stabbed it again. Anyway, another did Primal Rage and he got slayed by a Frong, so at that rate, nothing really is working out too well for SLT. Here comes a Nano, traded 1 for 1.
2 for 1, and also the duplicated Winston means there are several Winstons on the map. The Winstons per capita is off the charts right now. Both of them are Primal Raging. Another nearly has a Primal Rage as well, actually. I don't think he's going to use it at the same time as the other 2. Indeed, may not even use it at all. He is super low. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Did they just want to reset?
I mean, wanting to reset here is one thing, but now you're going to lose all this space. Look at the car position. It's moving on through. And at least I am, you know, we got the EMP. Yeah, okay, we're not going to blow the Primal Rage. I think if you played the Primal Rage and SLT actually committed into the thing, and then while that's happening, you have the EMP layered on top, it would be much better. Manual hack to the front, that's a nice kill.
Okay, there we go. That's going to be a good pickup. He did at least get a nano off there. Not sure where that ended up, but Arpen does go down as well as the EMP comes across. So this has finally given pause to WGS, who at this point have been entirely and utterly unstopped and undefeated. But as I say that, still 3.5 minutes on the clock here. We've nearly capped out B as well. I don't think it's going to take all that long for WGS to get up and running again.
I mean, it's enough of a slowdown. We still get the EMP out, so for WGS, don't have to deal with that later. It's going to come down to grab versus grab. It's a situation for SLT to kind of assert a little bit more of a lead. 4 ultimates to just the 2 so far, including the grab pulse combo, which is very much needed. If SLT can, you know, transfer this in front of the EMP, that would be really nice. But with November gone, that's most of the damage.
Grab for grab, they do at least trade Vulture and a sleep onto Arpen there. It's going to slow WGS down just a smidge, but it's certainly not going to slow Sparrow down on a personal level. Dunks on Misha. And there we go. Arpen immediately gets out, picks up one, another, a little bit low here, likely to go down. Just sort of in the most awkward duel of his life. And now WGS, like I said, back up and running, going to rotate back out towards this cart. And SLT still a little way away from resetting, so they should be able to secure this B cap here and now.
And now you know why WGS can just kind of win fast and lose. I mean, they have less resources, they still win the fight. Nano comes on through for another. He needs to do a lot more damage. Arpen's even sleeping. Look, this is the best chance for SLT.
Yeah, and they just couldn't get anything done because the rest of the team had so much damage. Bono especially, the Emolga was super low. Another, despite the Primal Rage, was hovering around about a 1/3 health remaining with the Nano Boost on him. Sorry, not despite the Primal Rage, with the Nano Boost it was. So they just didn't have a tank line up to accomplish anything. And they still hadn't really pushed past the damage output of WGS.
It's a slow roll. I say slow, it's actually pretty speedy from WGS. Rolled into the finish line here. Look at nearly available into the Nano as well. And at this point, I mean, you can look at the Starlight resources. They don't have any ultimates, but even if they did, it doesn't feel like a lot's going to come through from it. Vulture instantly duplicating over.
Oh, look at that. Just huge damage coming out. Bono with the Nano Boost on him. He was only at about half charge when he was picking up most of those kills. Now more in the realm of 70 plus. And if he can maintain that throughout this entire closing stretch, I don't see WGS getting slowed down a whole lot.
Oh, they're still free pushing. Still got to grab. SLT have to rely on a counter grab here, and that's assuming Nano, or rather, Nano can live.
In the base.
Down.
I mean, that's even a greedy play because there's no guarantee you stop everyone up, but they've still picked up 3 kills. Another had to dive towards the cart with nobody to back him up, so no surprise that he goes down quickly. Arpen is just hovering around the base gate. They're just trying to keep people away from the cart, and honestly, they can afford to do so. The cart's just going to cap over here. November gets a touch. Hey, EMP's only Arpen, who's still got healers at his back. At this point, it's entirely November and Emolga just trying to keep the cart alive, and finally a grab out from Emolga. WGS getting stopped with 0.48 meters left and 2.5 minutes on the clock is not an impressive feat here from Starlight. It is the minimum expectation, and even then, they're barely clearing the bar.
Okay, well, I mean, at least we got this fight going their way for Starlight. I thought that EMP was just going to be, you know, the omen to the doom of Starlight for that defense, because it's solo EMP onto Arpen, manual hack to follow as well, and then they get the kill to Arpen, followed through by then the grab it on Surging Starlight. I hate to say it, it looks like it could be an overcommit, but they win the fight, so, you know, what's up? So WGS, if they lose Vulture here, it could be bad news.
That was really important, and it took them quite a while to actually finish him off. It was looking like the manual hack was going to end, and he was going to be able to dart away, get that duplicate going. So this is going to be a little bit more slowdown here, unless WGS just, like, pick up some slick kills, and they may yet do that with 90 plus charge on Bono. So much pressure coming out from him. Grab available as well as Nano. There we go. They're just going to go ahead and commit it. They've already dunked on Emolga. Arpen again, nanoed and slept, so that's a nice tool to have taken off the table there for Starlight. Another having to pop the Primal, picks up a couple. It's something, it's keeping them competitive, but WGS, they're not going to give up easily. They reckon they can try and close this one out here and now, and they've still got a duplicate as soon as this manual hack runs out. They may yet still go for this. Not anymore.
It's actually a significant time loss. I think the real takeaway now is that Starlight, after winning these 2 fights, plus now the EMP being available, there's a real world, dare I say it, to even entertain the thought that Starlight could hold C here. They have respawn advantage. We're down to 1 minute. Overtime's going to kick in, which, you know, exacerbates the respawn advantage in favor of Starlight. If the EMP connects well, that's all that needs to happen. My only issue is, so far, Haim's EMPs have been pretty 50-50. Some of them are just solo EMPs, and, I mean, the last one worked out, but it's got to be good. 2? I don't know.
Arpen's getting topped off. They kill Vulture, that's good, but that's a 1-for-1 trade, now a 2-for-1, 3-for-1, and look, you don't need me to keep doing the math for you. Arpen, for the first time, isn't slept because Misha is dead. All the members of Starlight Gaming also more or less dead. Pulse Bomb, that's a cute one onto Fixer, but it's not going to count for anything, so even with the time getting bled down to the 22 seconds, look, credit where it's due to Starlight Gaming. They picked up a good rack of kills in the defense there, but let's also be completely clear. Like, they were stuck in their base there. They barely pushed WGS off with less than half a meter to go. And I feel like they picked up a couple of fights because, again, WGS were a little bit fast and loose.
Honestly, Starlight actually just pulled the trigger too early there. They could have afforded to wait for WGS to free push a little bit longer, allow Haim to stay invisible, don't reveal his positioning, get a bigger EMP, you know, have WGS as much in the open as possible. Haim drops the EMP there, only lands on 2. Now, sure, they are going to get Vulture down, but Arpen gets kept alive due to some decent pocketing. The rally comes through from Fixer, and then the Primal Rage is available. So really all they got out of that EMP was only Vulture. And they trade November and another for it. So a 1-to-2 trade where they are the ones that initiated the fight with the EMP. And we're looking towards time here as the biggest factor that needs to work in favor for Starlight. So if they delay the fight further, really pull the cart towards the spawn, play for a later EMP, and then extend that fight for as long as possible by getting a better EMP and playing for the respawn advantage, I could have seen that going into the overtime, even if WGS eventually capped.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. I think, though, some of this is, you know, we're talking about the 0.1%, right? Like, I still think there is a real world where Starlight don't even cap the first point here. And if they don't, then 22 seconds, 4 minutes, 0 seconds, it genuinely wouldn't matter. You know, even if WGS didn't cap C at all, it just wouldn't matter if they just hold Starlight somewhere before they cap A. I'm not going to claim to be clairvoyant. I don't know that that's guaranteed to happen, and it may yet not, but assuming Starlight Gaming don't even cap out the map, it's 6-1, half a dozen the other.
It's worth referencing only because, like, it's just the small things Starlight are not doing correctly. They're just not finding the advantages. They're not really squeezing through possible win conditions, and at this point in time as well, this attack has been dismantled. It's 2 kills for nothing. WGS are on their way to charging up fresh ultimates.
2 kills for nothing may yet be Starlight Gaming's official slogan for this match.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue. I might want to work on the tagline there. The hashtag is a little bit off, but you know, it'll always be a work in progress. I think for Starlight, that is really the theme for Starlight Gaming this season of Contenders. It's a WIP. You know, we're seeing how the roster develops, and believe me, they've been really moving through their roster, haven't they? So Starlight Gaming, here we go, second attempt, a minute 15 gone. Nano available. Should be looking to use Nano pretty early here into another.
And that's got to be the opening for them. But no, another gets slept. That's really important as well. This is going to buy Frong a bit of time to charge up his own Nano Boost. Vulture as well, a duplicate. Arpen as well, a Primal Rage. And with that, the window's kind of closed here. Another doesn't get enough done with it. Doesn't have his own Primal, and now WGS rotating into an ultimate advantage. Here we go with the commit from Vulture. Duplicates the Winston. Immediate dive onto Misha. That's a nice Bionade as well. Another does get his Primal off, but it's 1 Primal versus 2 Primals. You do the math there. WGS just picking up more and more kills. Another not even able to finish off Fixer in a timely fashion, going down in the counter trade anyway.
Just in the pit, man. We're just throwing the Bionade in there. Double Winstons. Nano Boost as well into Arpen. WGS just slam dunking Saltino responses. Another lives as long as he does, only because he uses the Primal. We're waiting for another Haim EMP, and I don't know, man. Like, we've seen the EMPs. They don't always win. They typically don't. Bono's going to go down at least, but the grab's been used.
I actually think that's important to have killed Bono. They got to sleeve an Emmanuel hack onto Arpen plus a Bionade and Vulture. So WGS are a little bit sort of off kilter. Even then, they get a trade. And the reason the kill on Bono was important was his charge was reasonably high. Him not being able to follow up on the grab was a bit of a neutering of their damage output. But finally, with a Mulgus grab, they're going to be able to finish off just enough members. And even that was touch and go. WGS were actually trading beat for beat, kill for kill until that grab came through from Emolga.
Yeah, so the great thing we saw there was actually a lot of manual hacks from Haim. So despite not getting a lot of high value in terms of multiple members hacked by the EMP, you're going to get a couple of good ones. Bono has his shield stripped away. The grab comes through cool. Survived the grab. That was really important. But they stopped Arpen from using Primal that entire time because Arpen just got consistently manual hacked and just never got a chance to use a Primal. We saw Mulga lean into the Graviton Surge when that was available, and that grab ends up winning them that fight, allowing SLT to finally get this camp done.
Not a whole wealth of time, but they had enough time left on the clock with the cap that they're still doing okay. Like, it is still very plausible that they cap out, and for what it's worth, this is where I think that 22 seconds becomes increasingly relevant. Starlight have shown that they can cap in reasonable time on A. If they do that on B, then they could actually get through to C and be able to cap out with a competitive time back.
I think for WGS here, though, I mean, one reset, one defense where they force SLT to reset could be this fight because Albam is down. If the Nano doesn't come on through ASAP, it's not a good look. Arben's forced to Primal, that's not bad from SLT.
Not bad, but also not great because he will be able to pick up at least the kill onto Emolga there. That resets his charge, if nothing else. And Emolga having a lot of charge was a lot of what allowed that grab in the courtyard fight to be so devastating.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where you angered the monkey and the Primal punished you. Also, the Byronade from Frong really put a damper on SLT's hopes for that fight, and here we go. That's that one reset I'm talking about. Now WGS are in position. They have the high ground. SLT are slowly losing time here. The conditions are getting very narrow. Nano onto another behind sleep. That's going to be a free kill.
Yeah, it's really big there. Just a nice quick cleanup. November commits a pulse bomb, doesn't get enough out of it, and dies. Another super low. Definitely not going to pop the Primal there. It would be an absolute waste. Emolga going to get cleaned up. And I mean, this has been essentially a naked fight. There has been no ultimate usage, no expenditure. That's just WGS getting the run around on all 6 members of Starlight.
I think that might be it. I mean, really, I have a lot of faith that potentially Emolga can get a grab off. The other issue with that, though, is at this point of the map, where you're supposed to grab, because for the Zarya to work, you have to do a long road. 2 things have to happen. 1, you would need to get WGS off the high ground to get a good grab. Or 2, you make the long rotation happen. You take the high ground and you grab on top there. If those 2 things don't happen, it could be pretty bad, but somehow Bono was caught below, so maybe they have found the opening.
That was a little bit overly aggressive with Bono's positioning. He actually he wasn't near any of his healers. He was near to Arpen. Arpen can jump away to safety, Bono can't. But even with that, the Nano Boost gone onto Arpen. They've at least traded 1 back and now going to get aggressive with the Primal, looking to trade back more. Look at that. 2 great Bionades on already low health members. All 3 going to get totally swept up there and cleaned away. So even with the opening kill on an sort of mispositioned Bono, it's not enough for Starlight to even open the door.
And look at this card positioning. Vulture has control currently. WGS, you know, all over this B area. And with the card positioning slowly moving backwards, win Starlight. I'm assuming that they can win with 4 ultimates to the 1 here. If they can win this fight, especially off grab EMP and now the pulse bomb being available, there's still going to be one more fight. I suspect that Starlight are going to have to overcommit to this fight because WGS, we know they can win at a deficit. And they're probably going to really push SLT. Bono's nearly got himself a grab, and if Bono commits, Starlight are going to use all 5.
May only be 20 seconds left here, so I want to say it while I can. I want to see Frong, Krong, and a Wrong all on a team. But before that, we'll have to see if Starlight can get anything enough. And there we go. It's going to be, I was going to say 3 kills picked up. One of them was Bono's own right-click, getting himself. But straight there onto Misha, nowhere near enough. So finally, Starlight, they're going to be able to get the fight. And actually, they conserve 2 ultimates here. That's important because there is still a reset here for WGS. There will be one more fight.
And they've saved EMP plus the Pulse Bomb. Also, November died, so couldn't use the Pulse Bomb. Thankfully for SLT, they were able to get through that one with just 3 ultimates, not all the 5. Yeah, Vulture is on the hunt here, but importantly, the point is what we're looking for. Misha can die here, but if the EMP connects well, SLT can still win.
Big if. Okay, he gets the 2 tanks, but already he himself is down. That's already half your DPS done for. Good kills onto Frong and Arpen, and hey, look, Bono down to his own right click again. Not sure what to make of that. Look, he was already low. He was already likely to die anyway. Don't read too much into it. But that was really important for SLT there to get that extra fight win, to have conserved those ultimates to make that a possibility.
I mean, Hayam dying is not a huge deal, in my opinion there. It's not half the damage. Sombra is not really even, I would say, a third of the damage here. Really, if this is a Zarya Tracer kind of deal for me, Winston does even more damage. But the point is, once EMP is used, if you can get off an extra manual hack, that's great. Hayam only lands the EMP again, predictably, only onto 2 members. Ends up being pretty good because they get Frong off the back of it. And Vulture, we saw him hanging around the back line the entire time, doesn't get Misha as well. So the 1 member we thought was going to be free for WGS, they didn't actually pick up.
That being said, the fact that they had to cap that in overtime means I'm dubious of their ability to fully cap out C, especially with this disastrous start. Bionade in a confined space, Nano Boost onto the Primal Raging Arpen, and the extra armor to boot. 30 seconds left on the clock. Look, Starlight Gaming, they would have to get 2 fights, probably both in the overtime here, and I just don't see it happening.
I don't think we really expected SLT to finish this map. You know, and this is where, hey, that kind of final defense, the time bank kind of thing with the 22 seconds, possibly could have made a difference. It's just going to be a 22-second lead. If Starlight can actually cap this one, which will be very difficult considering the cart location is very far behind, it will be 1 minute to 1:22. Starlight got a lot of work to do though. They got to win a couple of fights here.
They got a lot of ultimates, though, and that could be the difference maker. First, the nano boost committed, but no gain for that just yet. Just a bit of cart positioning. However, cart positioning could help. If they could push this to the point where a one-fight win would allow them to finish the cap, that would be great. That's already a couple of kills all the way through for WGS, and I think it's all over but the crying. And certainly there will be tears on the side of Starlight. The one kind of trade onto Bono is maybe something, but they're going to need a bit more. And with Pulse Bomb blowing Albam sky high, with Misha down as well to the headshot, the EMP from Hayam is just too little too late. Not any fault of his, just the fight went on too long. The members were already dead, and even with the impressive rack of kills for Emolga at the end, there's just not enough gas in the tank.
And I think the problem with saying, like, yeah, Starlight have the ultimates, and, you know, we've both been caught in this, is that I don't think WGS care. WGS have won in so many situations where they're behind, where they have less ultimates, less players, less everything, that it's like, for Starlight to really, on paper, be favored, they would need to have a heavy advantage. Like, we have way more ultimates, we have way more players alive, and everything, you know, D, all of the above, right? So they actually made it interesting. They made it interesting towards the end there. It was quite competitive. I credit what credit's due. They got A, they got B. B especially was looking a bit dicey for quite a while, but eventually, you know, they grind that one through, and they were able to bank up decent ultimates to get the job done. And there have been instances in the past in the other two maps where even when you had, you know, the grabs and the EMPs and the good ultimates available, they've been kind of misfired and not using the greatest effect to get the value. But I gotta say, even though Haim only got, like, on average 2 people in an EMP ever, they were able to convert for the most part up until the end when, you know, we get to C, and the C is where the defender's advantage starts to really kick in massively. And so for WGS, if it wasn't enough that they were on paper the better team and could win at a deficit, now they got a respawn advantage, and that's just going to be insurmountable for a team like Starlight.
Exactly, and that's been the story of every single match Starlight have played. Unfortunately, you know, their opponent has just always been the better team, and to that end, it's no surprise that they end the season in the 5th place spot. They get eliminated, no map wins as well. I mean, the story is writ pretty large there. I'm curious to see what the future is for some of these players as well, because there's been so many. I almost feel like, you know, maybe the potential diamonds in the rough didn't even get a chance to sparkle, let alone shine. So a part of me wants to see a bit more of some of these players, maybe on different
Dallas
teams. Yeah, maybe in different rosters and different incarnations, different combinations. I think there could be some sort of uncut gems among the bunch here. But like I said, we haven't really had a great chance to appraise them. We haven't really got to see them under the right light just yet. So maybe we need to change that situation up for future seasons. But for now, Starlight do meet their end. And with that, we have officially said goodbye to another team. We have locked in the 2 teams getting eliminated straight out of groups. The only thing left to play for is standings. And from here on out, it is all standings all the way down. But that begins after a short break. So we're going to come back with with Runaway rather versus Team Diamond. So do not go anywhere. Hope you guys enjoyed your entree. It's time for the main course. We don't do dessert. It's not that kind of restaurant. It's a bistro. We do genuinely want you to leave as quickly as possible so that we can seat somebody else. And this is
Who?
now broken down metaphor. So we have Runaway versus Team Diamond coming up. We have officially said goodbye to Starlight Gaming. They were unable to break out of fifth place regardless of the result of that matchup. But, really, I feel like we just kind of took it to its logical conclusion of utter destruction.
And upsetting because you would have hoped for a team to win at least one map this season. 0-12 is never pretty, never feels good. Be a learning experience for sure, and we'll see what happens to Starlight for next season if they return next season. If that happens, could be with a different roster, could be a different team, could be a lot of differences. But for now, WGS, as expected, move on. They already did anyway before tonight, as explained that the actual result of that match up above doesn't change anything in the standings. This one will. Runaway versus Team Diamond.
Yeah.
They're locked in right now. When I say locked in, they're locked in 1 and 2 on the record. Whoever wins this one straight up takes third place, and the loser is in fourth place.
And let's go ahead and recap why that is important, by the way. First of all, the team that finishes fourth place has a chance of being eliminated in the interleague. You play the fourth place seed from the other group. If you lose, and that fourth place seed will be Team BN, they're no slouches. If you lose that matchup, you're out. You don't get to go into the playoffs. If you at least finish third, you're guaranteed into the playoffs regardless of your interleague result. Also, even if you win that fourth place match, you go in at seventh seed. You win your third place matchup, you go in at fifth seed. You pick up one match win, you've just finished the season in fourth place. You pick up two, bam, you're into the top three. The difference here is enormous. The best you can do from the fourth place finish in the group stages is win interleague, and then you have to win every single playoffs match to have a chance of winning the season. There is absolutely no margin for error. You have to win a huge number of matches in a row. It's unlikely. We've seen stranger things happen, but it's unlikely. So the difference in seeding here really does matter.
And here's the starting six for Runaway. I say starting six. It's the only six Runaway with just the standard roster. They've been
Finishing six.
really the only six, and they've been trying to do their best with this roster. I say do their best in the light where they are technically 1 and 2. They've only won a single match this season so far. It's versus Gen G. Team Diamond, same deal as well. By the way, before we just move away from Runaway, the last thing we saw there was Merit still on this team, so probably not going to be the new DPS flex, a new DPS hit scan for the Dallas field. Still on Runaway. Team Diamond here on your screens now, and once you get it's Gorio with the shiny pants and the rest of
Love
Team
it.
Diamond as well. I mean, we've seen some good things from Diamond this season, but Diamond themselves, the only team they have beaten, I believe, is also Gen G.
And that's really telling. I think it'll be interesting to see what actually happens in this matchup, though, because there's one thing I want to touch on. And as much as this is like soft power, it's the Runaway playoffs buff. I don't know what it is. The team always just seems to start performing well, like right towards the end of the
That's
season and
next
then
week.
moving into playoffs. Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, but often we see them in the final week of the regular season sort of start to just kind of come alive a little bit more. I'm not super convinced that we're going to see that this season. The reason I say that is because I think this is a far
Because
more
you're a
limited
doubter.
runaway than what we've seen in the past. It's because I'm a naysayer. It's because I like to go against the grain.
You're a doomer.
And I'm just a miserable guy. I'm a
Yeah.
grumpy,
We were
cantankerous
we were
old
we
man.
were
And
joking up until
I
the end,
don't
and then we
want
got
people
serious.
to, yeah, I don't want people to be happy. I want people
Yeah.
to want Runaway to win and for them to perform terribly. And that's the
Jesus.
only thing that might put a smile on my otherwise miserable dour face.
Wow. And the best thing I can do is just be happy, and
You
what are
got a
you
lot
gonna
to
do?
be happy about, all
Um,
right? So keep that to yourself.
okay, I'll try. I'll try, and I think for Runaway as well. Hopefully they can look. Runaway have been
Mhm.
one of the more successful uh, teams that we've had, brands, organizations in Overwatch's history. This might be the one season where I think they legitimately struggle, and I think across the rest of Runaway's history, at least in contenders. Look, we can go back to Apex, and they struggled back then. Even if you consider like second place struggling, maybe I don't. That's still a pretty good result. So really, for
Yeah,
now, this could be the one of the few seasons ever for Runaway where they could have a pretty low result. And we're not calling anything early yet. I think they could probably beat Diamond. I'm going to be paying attention to how Runaway do beyond this in the interleague,
yeah,
coming in
for
the further
sure.
weeks. But right now, getting a good win versus Diamond would give them that hope. And I think the opposite is true as well for Diamond. A team that if you looked on paper preseason, you would have expected that Diamond, probably fifth place team in this group, they could be third by the end of tonight. And Gen G are that fifth place team. They're the team that goes completely winless, at least as far as matches go. They did get a couple of maps here. Team Diamond have already, in my eyes, kind of not overperformed, but definitely exceeded some expectation.
Sure.
And they still have room to exceed further.
I want to say this as well, by the way. So I was sort of talking about the limitations, I think, of Runaway. I do think they come into this match the favorite, but I think there are serious flaws that exist within this team that are going to put a bit of a ceiling on them, in my honest opinion. And Team Diamond are good enough that they could actually act as that ceiling for the purposes of this match. Like, that's what their path to victory in the context of this series looks like. But in a wider sense, the perfect Runaway story would definitely be that they lose this match. They go to Interleague in 4th place. They have to win their Interleague. They go into playoffs 7th place. They win every single match and they win the season. That would be the perfect Runaway-esque story.
Just want to point out quite a fun thing that I noticed there was that you said floor and ceiling, the same sort of note there. That was quite funny to me.
Yeah, floor with a W, but
I know, but audibly.
But ceiling with an
like
SEAL, so make of that what you will.
That's pretty good. I like that. Nice. Dongaga is going to be coming out of the ball, which is pretty expected. I actually thought maybe Runaway would consider an Echo composition here. They'll be meeting up in Team Diamond's Brawl composition that includes the McCree and also the Torb. So Team Diamond kind of know that Runaway are going to play dive. The Torb specifically is going to counter that.
Donghack getting a little bit aggressive there. Good forward push. Gurio with a nice angle around the side. They found Becky, though. Good dive in there. The follow-up is actually really slick between Donghack and FaZe. Like, this is a solid dive pair on the tanks. And with 1 DPS down, Team Diamond can't really just try and sit pretty anymore. In fact, Becky going to have to come back on a Tracer. No surprises there, as Runaway have got the opening point count.
I mean, they don't really want to play Tracer here, I don't think. It doesn't really work in the composition. Their tanks don't make sense here. I think for Ingok, would be good to see him move over towards Winston or something. Team Diamond now have a really weird comp they're going to be committing into. At least they're on the point here. You got to force Runaway to come towards you. FaZe could get emacked.
So huge as well. Quasad, 99%, got put down to like 1 hit point and then goes down. If he'd got the Coalescence, there was maybe a bit of headroom for him there, but no such luck. Gets decapitated. So with that, Team Diamond, I think, like you were saying, this is where we may see the rest of the members switch up the tanks, but no, they're sticking with what they've got.
The problem here is, okay, no, they're not. So finally, the Inhyok's going to go over towards the Winston. Sombra Tracer seems reasonable. I wouldn't mind also seeing something maybe like a Reaper here. Meg also works. Torb's not bad, even though they're moving away from the Torb. Torb still really puts a big asterisk on Dongak's success here, and that is a pressure point that, by the way, when you play against Runaway, tank Dongak down, pressure him down, make sure he suffers on the ball, and that's how you find a win against Runaway.
Certainly don't just let them play the dive that they want to play for free. You know, the Donghack on the ball, FaZe with the quick follow-up. They've got Ardo well positioned as well. By the way, the Pulse Bomber's in Hyok, so that just kind of slows Team Diamond down a little bit more, gives Runaway more time to charge up ultimates. Team Diamond are going to have to look for a fight in the overtime at this point, and they kind of need another fight before then, I think, to actually make that plausible. But that's a good manual hack. That being said, Gurio already super low. Becky with the Pulse Bomb doesn't find his marks. They are burning some of those ultimates off Runaway, though. The Valkyrie and the Transcendence both committed. And actually, Team Diamond are committing big into this one. They've got reason to. They've found Simple and Merit. FaZe manual hacks means the self-destruct is off the table for the time being. Minefield did go down, but Team Diamond, they are ignoring it for the time being. They're just collecting the kills. And with that, they're going to be able to brush Runaway aside off this point by the looks of things, just waiting to confirm the cap.
At 99% as well, so I mean, it takes a while to get there. At Runaway, we're going to get 90% plus anyway. Just trying to slow things down. At this point in time, Runaway, unless they expect to be able to turn the fight around, shouldn't be throwing in extra ultimates. That Pulse Bomb, I think, for Ardo needs to come back in, if it was possible. And for Runaway, I mean, no point delaying either, so you don't see the rest of them try and dive on the point to collect more percentage points. Now it's about finding that one fight victory for Runaway. They're at 99, they just got to get the one in there. Self-destruct with Silver Coin.
Whoa. I think the biggest story is actually because of that self-destruct, Inhyok is able to find Chio. Becky's in the drink. That's not good. I think that's just a misrecall there. Don't see how else he could have gone over the edge like that. So he will be able to come back to the team pretty quickly, but Runaway, they're going to try and close this window before it gets too far open. Silver Coin D-Max. Unfortunately, the Coalescence not able to save him. Now he goes down entirely. FaZe equally demech though. That's something, especially if they can stop him remeching. It's going to be touch and go. As like you said, Runaway pressuring the cap. FaZe gets back in the mech. EMP needs to come in big. They need to kill Simple before he can use a Transcendence. But with Injog dead, they've lost their ability to dive. It's just Becky. He gets a pulse on Chio. He's the sole DPS. It's just him with Silvercoin tanking. Lego stun needs to survive until he gets Sound Barrier, but no. Merit's got it with the flashbang of all things. Silvercoin, dead headshot straight out of the mech. 99% to Runaway. TDI, not enough members. The few that were there now dying, and that's going to be the first map going over to Runaway.
Man, the EMP comes on down. It's like you catch 3 people. Like you said, Simple's got to go down, but they don't catch anybody. And now for Team Diamond, 3 people alive, barely touching the point in time. They don't really have much of a hope of winning. As we progress further, Ardo's still got a pulse bomb available. Silvercoin will just try and keep this one alive, but we know for Team Diamond, there's no chance here. 100 to 57. And the most impressive thing here from Runaway was even while Team Diamond looked like they should have been in control, they were defending, they were ticking up on percentage points. Runaway were attacking from multiple fronts there. They had control of White Room. They were also on the point as well. So, you know, I yelled out cap because Runaway was slowly capping the point. And if Team Diamond were trying to aggress into the White Room, they were going to lose the cap. So Team Diamond needed to fight on 2 fronts there or get pincered. Or rather, I think from my perspective, just take the entire fight to the actual point itself. They EMP inside White Room and they don't really get the full committal because their team is so spread out between taking the fight there, addressing the point as well and stopping the cap from coming through. They never got the damage required. Simple never went down, and nobody went down until the pulse bomb from Gurio connected.
Feels like Runaway have just kind of been able to play their game plan. Team Diamond haven't done enough to disrupt it. I hope to see Becky on this Echo as a bit of a changing force there. Also, this feels like a more sensible composition right out the gate. There was that beat where Team Diamond were a little bit off kilter with their composition back on Gardens. So we'll have to see what they can accomplish here. Becky low, but the opening kill on Merit traded with Inhyok is a little bit rough, but look at these low supports, plus a Bionade onto Donghak, and this is where these members can start to shine. Gurio especially, huge charge on Silvercoin. He definitely doesn't want to die with that. And there we go. That's the opening fight that Team Diamond were looking for.
Yeah, Becky surviving there barely. I mean, 19 HP. We do see Inhyok going down, but for Team Diamond, the trades are so much better. You see the Bionade land going to Donghak. Chio was on 1 HP as well, so can't really contest. The point hasn't been fully capped yet, so now that Runaway have actually gotten their respawners in and Donghak's back into action as well, they've gone on the point and they're reversing the progress that Team Diamond have, and Runaway are going to be the ones that win the neutral eventually.
That was utterly silly. Team Diamond had a bunch of members and they were slow to rotate back to the point. A lot of them didn't even rotate directly to the point. Not that you just like make a beeline for it, but they sent 1 member there. That 1 member died in a 1v1 and they end up not even getting the point despite winning the fight. Now they're having to fight from behind again. That's a good opening kill, and Becky quick fingers with the duplicate there. Doesn't really catch his ideal target, but he stays alive. That's the more important thing, especially with these skills starting to come through. And hey, a Transcendence seems to go amiss. That being said, they still lose 2 members in spite of it, and this is where you're wishing you actually just had damage output from Becky. Silvercoin, like you said, they need damage, they need a grab. Becky immediately back into the Echo form, is able to pick up a kill, but Team Diamond are really low on members. Silvercoin not able to stay alive, and that's with 90 charge. I mean, this has just become an absolute disaster for Team Diamond, and it feels like it should never have happened in the first place.
Primal's available here, so Team Diamond can actually reinforce properly. Silvercoin will be respawning. Becky's still alive as well. Now that they actually have their team together, they just need to be able to apply this damage and wait for the grab. Even if there's no energy charge available for Silvercoin, as long as Inhyok can get the cleave in there and Becky can confirm damage with stickies, it should be enough even in a 5v6. But I think for Team Diamond, they're not willing to risk it. No, are they? They just grabbed.
Yeah, they're going for it. Okay, they find FaZe, they find but no, never mind, the answer is there. The Dead-Eye, too many members out in the open. Not enough. I mean, this feels bonkers. This feels really ridiculous. Team Diamond just took this huge, long, protracted fight, never really having a singular big advantage, and now we're finally getting a quiet beat, a real reset. Runaway are at 80%.
They nearly had that fight, though. Team Diamond, we're waiting for, you know, the grab and Becky to both be at the same time, waiting for a possible pulse. You need some sort of grab plus DPS combination, maybe Inhyok again for the cleaving damage, but they're always down 1 member. Lego dies. Team Diamond had a 6v6. Then somebody else dies, and I thought maybe they're not going to go for it now. They'll just respect it, play for the respawn, wait for Chio's rally to dissipate. But Team Diamond go for it anyway. Now they don't have the grab, and they don't have time. We're waiting for the duplicate.
And I mean, look at where this fight is happening. It's not like they're actually attacking Runaway. Runaway are the ones collapsing onto Team Diamond. They've already found Silver Coin. They're desperately trying to fight in this confined space. They're nowhere near the point. Whoever it is trying to make a back cap happen, they're in a 1v1. They get the sneak through, but I mean, what's this really going to accomplish for them? They're still going to lose Gurio. It forces out the minefield, sure. Runaway are going to re-grab. Who on Team Diamond is going to run to this point to preserve the overtime?
Yeah, it's going to be over 99 to 8%. I mean, and Hyok's on his way back here. Time's going to run out. That was rough to see. And by the way, a very small detail I noticed there as well is Team Diamond even killed the one guy that I think for Becky would have been the prime target for a duplicate. I'm talking about FaZe here. FaZe was the first trade that Team Diamond got. And that's the ideal duplicate target. They lose both supports, and Becky's like, I got to copy the Zen. Doesn't get a transcendence. You never really do. Copying a Zen is always going to be one of the worst copies you can do. It's one of those emergency ones where it's like, I got to choose somebody. Who's it going to be? I guess Zen's close by. Yeah, they felt. I feel like there were multiple opportunities for Team Diamond where the grab was available, and they were just constantly down. Well, we go back to that same moment again. Team Diamond, where just that kind of close but not quite there kind of team.
There is a moment in the very first fight as well, and I don't want to get too much into into whataboutism and what ifs, but Team Diamond, they won the opening fight. There's no two ways about that. They won the opening fight, but there was a moment there where they were ahead, they'd got more kills, and they went in deeper into the fight, and they were having that fight way off in the sort of string of buildings that is on the far side of the map compared to where the actual point is. And they got a bigger win in the fight, but because it was longer, the first few members of Runaway who had died had now respawned, and because the move back to the point was so long, they didn't get to rotate in time, and even then, they didn't rotate particularly directly. That's why they didn't actually get the opening point grab off that fight. I can't help but feel like there was a window there where they could have started rotating towards the point and maybe have picked something up, because fighting out in the open, out in the courtyard, is something that Becky was more than happy to do on the Echo rather than getting into the confined spaces.
You got to clean up the members. For me, it doesn't matter where that is. If the fight takes place off the point, if it's in the side room, the point is you have to win the fight and actually get the kills required, and then move towards the cap and get the actual percentage. But
which they failed.
It was kind of nothing really happened there because they kind of started getting a few picks. They didn't convert onto the other members, but also didn't pressure the point. And to be fair, neither team did pressure the points. What ended up happening was the reason Runaway ended up having the eventual numbers advantages, they got trades as well. Then they went over towards the points, and Team Diamond didn't have enough to contest with. Dongak returns, and they're the first ones on that actual point, and Team Diamond, I'm not too sure where the rest of the members were, but they were completely missing. So, just small details like that. Look, they got the recap eventually, but they never had the lead. You kind of feel like so far in the series, Runaway are definitely, they have control of the tempo, they have the initiative. It's Team Diamond constantly in catch-up mode, and never the ones leading the pack.
It also feels like, and look, this is some real hindsight analysis also, let's be clear about that, but it also kind of feels like there's that situation where across the entire midsection of that, after the failed rotation to the point, after Runaway get the first cap and this sort of the soft fight loss for Team Diamond, they then sort of regroup, they start committing, and that fight took Runaway all the way up to 90%, with Team Diamond like almost in a position where they could win the fight. And it always looked like, oh, if there's one last thing comes through and maybe it connects well, we can do it. So they kept committing. And look, 6-1, half a dozen the other. You can argue both ways. You can argue that just going for a much more clean break and a reset could have maybe put them into an advantageous position in some other nebulous subsequent fight. Or you can argue that they did the correct thing and things just didn't connect well enough. Runaway are just a good team. But either way, the net effect is there was basically one protracted engagement that lasted from the opening skirmish all the way up to 90%. And even then, they actually capped the point on a back cap. That wasn't them winning a fight and capping the point. That was them losing a fight, getting a back cap, and then immediately losing the point and losing the round anyway.
So what we can really, ascertain here is that Runaway so far over the course of Lijiang Tower have kind of proven themselves to be the overall better team. Team Diamond, again, as I described, have been kind of behind the ball here. They are not in command of the initiative. They're behind. They have to react to Runaway. And Runaway are faster. They're there first. They have the tempo control. As we move over into King's Row, let's see if that continues for Runaway. And honestly, at this point in time, where things can still shift for me is once we move away from Runaway's preferred composition, which is always going to be centered around Dongak's ball. Once we move away from that, what does Runaway look like? Because in their other series, that's when Runaway start to look a bit worse.
Bingo. And yeah, look, I think Team Diamond in an ideal world, they want to be able to shut down that composition because look, if you can shut down the ball composition out of Runaway, then you're almost assured the win, right? But even if you can't shut it down, if you can challenge it, if you can force it onto other things, and then you can shut down those other compositions, it's still a winnable series. So that's now what we need to potentially see out of Team Diamond if we're going to consider that they have a chance at winning the series.
All right, well, Team Diamond have the capability to. I think Team Diamond, again, as the team that I would describe punching above their weight. I don't know
Sure.
how far above their weight Runaway really is. I kind of feel like Runaway should be close enough. You'd think to Team Diamond. Don't get baited by this hog, by the way. That's not going to be Dongak's real pick. I suspect this is going to be Ryan. Yeah, it's looking to me like it'll be FaZe D.Va, Lucio, plus BAP, into Ryan May, Merit McCree. Here we go. This is the Runaway composition. They're going to go with classic Brawl, and for Team Diamond, double shield.
All right, decent. Do just want to point out real quick, Donghack's name can be rearranged to spell Dank Hog, so I would have liked to have seen the Roadhog just for that. But we do not live in that world. Instead, Team Diamond on the defense, Runaway. Like in the composition, all things considered, we'll have to see, as we were kind of saying, whether they can shut down Donghack now that he's off the ball.
Alrighty, well, there we go. Becky's down already, so 6v5, and the wall's going to cut off an extra member. Control.
Oh! Okay, that is a nice immortality field, and actually because of the positioning of the wall, it's not easy for them to kill it. They finally get it down, but Team Diamond have been able to top off their tanks, and with that, they're able to sort of counter push a little bit. Losing Gurio is rough. They don't really have any DPSs left in it, and Merit's free firing. They're also freely on the point, where Team Diamond are not. So despite the fact that Team Diamond only lost 2 members, they weren't on the point. The cap goes over, and this is going to be a bit of a disaster potentially, unless Team Diamond get a big fight win here and now, which honestly they could still. A nice immortality field, but a fat shatter. The charging on Becky, massive cleanup across the board, and Runaway. That is the epitome of having your cake and eating it too.
And they still got 4 ultimates as well. How fast was that attack, by the way? They instantly capped. They got the members down. Becky's the first casualty. The wall comes up, splits up Team Diamond, a vertical wall. Straight in the high ground, and Team Diamond have got caught up. They can't move. Immortality field has to be used instantly. While that's happening, point pressure at the exact same time, and now Runaway with a banger amount of time left in the time bank.
Positioning super far forward, extra zoning with the Deadeye. They're just buying cut distance. Good delay there on the back end by Becky to not allow that to get maximum value. That would have been maybe a bit egregious. But now they're just using the amplification matrix for the same purposes. They're trying to just create a firing line that Team Diamond can't walk in front of. Look at that, the fire strikes straight through. Absolutely dunks Gurio. Now the Blizzard there as the Brawl makes its way to the actual point cap. Flux has to do a lot here for Team Diamond. Silvercoin brings him up, drops him down. Nothing gained just yet. Dongak low, but retreating now to the immortality field as Merit gets a headshot on Becky. And it feels like Team Diamond are always just 1 DPS down in all of these fights, constantly in recovery mode. Great self-destruct forward. Silvercoin just can't get the barriers in all directions at all times. And Runaway, slowly but surely, is just endless, insurmountable pressure until finally the levy breaks.
And by the way, Team Diamond have been committing ults in here. I mean, we saw a bunch being used. Team Diamond is really, realistically sitting on only the Bob now. So that entire B phase was also lightning quick. We still got over 5 minutes on King's Row. Runaway have not stopped pushing. They have not been slowed down. Simple has another amplification matrix, and as soon as it was dropped, Donga got a snipe down, and Closet dropping down his own response window. Team Diamond got nothing out of it. Yeah, okay, Ardo's Blizzard definitely missed, but it pushes Team Diamond away and gives Runaway the room to work with.
It just feels absolutely immense here for Runaway. It's almost like a force of nature. Team Diamond, all you can do is batten down the hatches. How do you fight a hurricane? Runaway now, nearly the cap. There we go, the Bob dealt with. They gave respect to that, but now that it's done for, the only thing Team Diamond have is this amplification matrix, and if this gets no kills, then I think that's going to be it here. Now the Blizzard out. What's the positioning even going to be? Gurio is dead. He can't go ahead and fight through it. They deal with the immortality field. Nice trade onto Ardo. That's something, but they need to get a lot more than that. They need a DMAC phase here. There we go. Finish that one off. Merit feeling a bit of the pressure. Good wall from Becky just to block that line off. Donghack low as well. He should get dropped before long. Took a long time to kill him, and Merit going down to Smith before that as well. And finally, Team Diamond have been able to weather the storm. But look at that. 4 minutes left, 2.78 meters to go.
I hate to be that guy, but if anyone is wondering why Merit is not going to be the new hit scan DPS for the Dallas Fuel, just go back and watch that line of play versus Becky again. I'm not going to explain it. You just have to experience it yourself. Runaway, though. Look, that was
Tell us what you
nearly a
really
speed
think.
run. That was nearly a speed run. That was going to be a 4-minute plus time bank, possibly. That was very, very fast. Now the Silver Coin, Flux is going to catch multiple members, which Holyfield saves.
Merit isn't quite able to do the cute thing where sometimes the Deadeye while you're up in the air gets line of sight onto more members, but look at that, the sound barrier, the self-destruct, Quasit going down. Team Diamonds, they're still on the back foot here, and the positioning isn't too hot either. They need to maybe clean up some kills. Ardo low, there we go, fighting against one, but in the rest of the fight, near the cart, near the actual objective, nope, the Shadow, that's it. And I have to say, with that ending there, I can say with some amount of confidence, Team Diamond have now consistently not played the objective.
Dongak's Ryan actually, putting up the numbers here as well, which is great to see. And one of the criticisms so far of the season has been that Runaway are kind of a almost one-trick, one-note team. This is a ball-only kind of team. But to be fair, their rush is decent, their brawl's decent. And you got to go back in history and remember the Runaway of old, way back in the day, Contenders. You see, the first year Contenders in 2018, that original Runaway squad were like the best GOATS team in the world at one stage. And so this has always been, I feel, in the DNA of Runaway as an organization and a brand as a team. And to see them kind of use this composition to great effect again, A and B were blisteringly fast. And in here, by the way, is the most concise, direct example of what I mean when I say Runaway have full initiative and tempo control. When you see Team Diamond trying to respond with ultimates, and look at this point here on your screens right now. That corner behind the box towards the left here, where the Ant Matrix was dropped by Quasit previously by Diamond on that defense. Dongak's already in your face. Runaway is already in your face, and when that Ant Matrix comes on through, he shatters straight away, and he catches everyone behind that, so you can't even use the Ant Matrix that's supposed to save you, and the Blizzard follows up. The Blizzard destroys the Immortality Field. This is what I'm talking about. Runaway are one step ahead, and they've already got the counter. They're already in your face before you're even ready to respond.
Yeah, 3:29 on the clock for Runaway. I mean, what does the time bank even look like here? I don't see a world, realistically, where Team Diamond come in with a competitive time. I'm not even convinced that I see a world where they come in with more than a minute or anything like that, anything outside of an overtime cap. So they are playing real hard from the back foot here. I want to believe that they can spring forward, but my belief is waning by the minute.
Well, so far for Team Diamond, no real progression. See if Gurio can find a pick. That will certainly open things up on that attack. They got Ardo down reasonably low. That's a nice shot into Dongak, so maybe now Team Diamond can actually get a rotation.
They're starting to get some forward pressure, but would have liked to have confirmed a kill with that as well. Beggars chooses, so on and so forth. My eye is also on Becky here to maybe make some magic happen, as Ardo's actually getting some shots into the back of him. But there we go, Becky getting aggressive. That's what we were after, the beam down onto Dongak. And that's a significant loss here for Runaway. Chia going to go for a res. Are they marking that one? Well, they've got a headshot on Merit, so even with the res coming through, this is still a man advantage. And look, the pressure's going to continue. The Bionade plus the bombs to demolish FaZe. They finally kill off Gurio thanks to Ardo, but I feel like the damage is being done here. Inhyok slept. By the time he wakes up, he's not exactly being pressured to die here. There we go. Ardo trying to get something in, misses the pulse bomb, goes not down, but more or less out as the rest of the team dismantled, and the cap looking to come through in what I have to say is a fairly timely fashion.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, they slowly get through that one, and it's still a one attempt at the end of the day, put Gurio into a good position. Eventually, when your Widowmaker has full line of sight over the 8 cap, and for Runaway, not enough pressure to deal with him. And then Inhyok being repeatedly slept. Dongak was repeatedly slept. You weren't going to kill Inhyok because he's got the primal. Becky even saves a duplicate, which could have been used in that last fight if things got looped for Harry. And now this is where it counts Team Diamond straight away. Look at the nano coming through for Becky.
That was a tasty Bionade, but unfortunately I think they needed it to land onto Merit, who was already quite low. This is not the duplicate that I think they wanted to go for, but they're going to work with what they got. Another nano to come out. There we go. That's the Bionade onto Merit to confirm the kill. And this is the forward pressure they're going to need here. The res to come through. There's a little bit of space. The Bob is going to sort of slow things down around this corner as Dongak gets aggressive, as Ardo finds a smart on the Becky. Counter grab. What can they get out of that? They've got Simple. They need more. They need way more than that. FaZe, the damage, he's got it. He's got the grab as well. And look at that. The cleanup, the finish off Team Diamond. The buck stops here.
And dare I say, maybe Team Diamond, I'll start with the duplicate there, is Well, I'm not too sure about the Ana dupe. Usually you would go for one of the tanks, something like that. I can see a situation where, look, if you go towards Ana, you land all the skill shots, you put the Primal onto your win condition of Inhyuk and he goes wild on the Primal Rage, that could be it, but Inhyuk only got the kill onto Merit, and then Merit got res. And after that, Team Diamond, it's like, what else you got left to play with? The grab's available, they pop that one in there. Not successful. And then for Runaway, survive because Dongak's got a Nano and a Primal Rage, and they overpower Team Diamond. They get way better frags. Let's see if this Nano works out better.
Here's the dive forward once again. They get Merit this time a little bit more timely, but again, the trade is there. Becky goes down. Haven't found another kill just yet. This time, at least Chio can't go for the res onto Merit, and they've found FaZe as well. Now trying to get on top of Chio. They can... There we go. That's the finish off they needed. Donghack, Arno, both under pressure. Sleep on Gurio's only going to slow him down for a beat. Donghack dead. It's unfortunate the cart wasn't close enough for this to turn into a cap outright, but if they can keep up the pressure, keep up the kills, and stagger Runaway, they could get capped here.
I mean, this is pretty awesome from TDI, to be honest with you, considering how fast Runaway's attack was overall. We'll see if Runaway can actually come in for a contest here. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of time. They're going to spend a bit of that time just, you know, pushing away Inhyuk, and because of that, it's going to be a cap 4 minutes and 10. Look, it's not the 5-minute 30 time bank that Runaway had going into C, but it might not have to be.
Yeah, this could be competitive. If they get a fast enough push here, this could be competitive. And like when I say competitive, I'm talking, you know, maybe 2 minutes to 3.5. That's decent. That there, though, is the Mercy difference, by the way. The Pulse Bomb into Merit immediately raised with the death onto Becky there. And they just don't have those same options. So Runaway going to be able to slow down Team Diamond, force another stoppage. And I think with that, the competitiveness of the time bank starts to get thrown into question.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is where we needed to see Inhyuk use the Primal for sure, in my opinion. Yeah, we got a one-to-one trade, but Runaway get the res anyway. We've seen that before. We've seen that where TDI kind of try and get something done. They get a kill, they lose somebody, but because of Chio existing on the Mercy, you gotta get more than a one-to-one. Or if you're gonna get a kill, it has to be on Resball. You gotta camp the body. We're looking for Silver Coin on this grab now. And the team is split. Look at Diamond. They're like all over the place right now.
Really bizarre. I mean, part of that I feel is they're trying to set up certain plays, certain positions. The Bob did also force people to sort of reposition a little bit and scatter around, but here we go. The commit comes in, the Nano boost onto Inhyuk, real deep here. The counter Nano onto Donghack, so we'll see what he accomplishes. Silver Queen, he's able to stay alive. Becky finally going for a sensible duplicate, even able to kill off FaZe. That's before even getting a duplicated grab, and now said duplicated grab. They've caught Chio in the midst of it. That's a critical find, and I think this is going to get them back underway. That's 2 for 1. Look at the man go.
That's what we're talking about. Becky finds a proper duplicate. We're done with the Zen dupes. We're done with the Ana dupes. He finds FaZe Zarya finally and gets all these grabs in there. Silver Coin's got one as well. Team Diamond, how would it take so Radic can finish this?
Oh, luckily in the spawn gate, so doesn't die, but okay, that's an important grab from FaZe. Can they get the kills though? That's what they need. No one's on the cart. There we go. Can we get people get it? Can we get this contested? Can we get this over the line? Inhyuk goes down. Ardo, Nano, sorry, the Bionade, but doesn't actually die. Bit of dynamite there just to keep Silver Coin honest. And there we go. Yeah, Silver Coin down. And that is going to stop them short of what it would have been the 2-minute time. So like I said, that more competitive time kind of in contention here. But this is still very possible, very plausible for Team Diamond, even if they are on the back foot.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, it's going to be half the amount of time back that the Runaway have. So I think for Team Diamond to be very competitive on the time bank, they would have, to me, needed to cap there. That fight particularly, and with Becky down, this is going to be another throwaway. This is going to be a reset for sure. It's a bit of an issue because you saw members caught out. Like, Inhyuk might die here. If you lose more members as Team Diamond, you're going to have to wait even longer.
Okay, Inhyuk survives, but Gurio doesn't because he doesn't choose to retreat. He stays in a risky position, and now Lego as well didn't retreat far enough, gets dunked by the Dynamite, and the stoppage is now blown out to a whole minute. And Inhyuk, what is happening here? Team Diamond, they need to just pull way back. They need to respect this.
What's happening is Team Diamond are about to only finish this map in overtime, if at that. So they should have a good attempt left, but we're about to be under 1 minute. And I remember us, like, it felt like 20 seconds ago, we're like, yeah, Team Diamond, okay, they lose one play, but they can just pull back here. Don't lose anyone else, and then they lost about 4 other people. So that's really, really unfortunate for Team Diamond. Becky, not Becky, Gurio nearly dies here. All of this, by the way, has given Runaway a lot of ult charge, and now they're on 5 ults plus the kill.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, they're on 5 ults and they're just out fragging. So what of it, right? Ardo gets one with the pulse bomb. That's kind of a freebie for him. Yeah, there's no way they cap outside of an overtime here. They're not even approaching the cart. This fight is nowhere near the objective. And look, that's not Team Diamond's fault. That's Runaway playing smart, sensibly kind of picking their fights, keeping the pressure on. They're going to go, all right, Team Diamond, if you want to get back to this cart, you're going to have to fight us twice. You've got to fight us first by your base and then by our base.
If FaZe had a grab right now, he would just grab spawn because Team Diamond is failing to get out of spawn currently. We're about to hit the OT, and the card has actually moved back far enough that Team Diamond, even if they win this first fight, they will need to be required to win 2 fights in the OT to actually cap.
Gurio nearly just dies like standing out in the open with Donghack free firing on him. Donghack throws out a minefield. No one's actually on this cart. I don't even know if anyone's touched. Silvercoin has to dive for it. There we go. Has a grab as well, commits that in, but he's going to get drilled down. Doesn't have enough damage in his own right. The pulse bomb from Gurio, not going to happen, not going to connect. Becky dropped out of the duplicate, and it's just this utter disconnect. Nothing landing at the right times in the right places. And just when we were saying, wow, this is looking good, maybe this can be competitive, Runaway just kick it up a notch, Runaway show who's really the boss. I mean, that was an absolutely gross spawn camp. And like I said, Team Diamond aren't respecting it enough, but realistically, like respecting it enough would have been them just sitting in spawn, waiting for Runaway to, I don't know, get bored and leave.
Well, respecting enough is, I actually think you don't want to respect. I think the opposite is better for them. And what you want to do is try and punish Runaway because it's actually quite risky for the defenders to be pushed up that far. And so in my opinion, the correct way to play that is to look for the alternate exits, try and punish the players from Runaway that are very far forward. The issue there was Runaway heavily outplayed them in the mechanics department, and they had the ults anyway, and it just went from bad to worse. It was a huge stagger from the Team Diamond side of things, from their POV. They just got consistently staggered. They were always down 1, and as someone's respawning, the next guy dies, and it's just a snowball of players being repeatedly staggered for like a minute, 2 minutes in a row. Maybe the early signs were there. I mean, it was good initial A and B coming through from the side of Diamond, but they're a minute and a half behind from Runaway's time back onto C. Now, looking at that from that perspective, it feels like they didn't do good enough, but then you compare the time, like 4 minutes to 5:30. 4 minutes is still a great time back, but when you really get to it, Runaway played Kings Row overall so well that to me, I'm a little disappointed in Team Diamond, but I'm also not that surprised because Runaway really had their number on this map.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. A part of me, and again, you know, the great analysis in hindsight, a part of me feels like Team Diamond actually could have played better on the defense, indeed should have played better on the defense in a couple of places. A, I think was the biggest, potentially the most egregious, but you know, even then, like C, there was no slowdown. B, there was little no slowdown. Part of that was Runaway used ultimates smartly and sort of played the positioning, gave themselves free push on the cart, but it feels like there could have been more out of the defense given that Team Diamond, like, it's not like they're just a bad team that's going to lose to a better team. Like, they're good enough to win fights against Runaway. They're good enough to genuinely take it to them. They're just not doing it often enough at the right times in the right places.
Certainly, you know, they got to be much better than that. Team Diamond right now, they're 0-2 down. Runaway looking like the Runaway that you'd expect, like the Runaway that the brand and the reputation would inform that they should be. So Runaway, can they maybe 3-0 here?
Maybe, and look, I think it's increasingly likely, especially with that Kings Row result. But if it's going to be a 3-0, that comes up in just a little bit. We're going to take a brief break, so don't go anywhere. Do you guys like 3-0s? I hope you do, because if you don't, you're watching the wrong region. We've had a whole lot of 3-0s week on week on week. Look, we've been saying that's going to change potentially still this week, but that's more like a tomorrow thing when we have that, the real table toppers. And I'm talking like serious table toppers. This is more like a table middler. This is about leg height, just underneath the lip of the table. Maybe if
yeah,
you're a tall person, you
I
might
got a
bump
good
your
analogy
knees
for
on
this.
this one. Go on, give me your
Yeah,
analogy.
this is like in terms of if this was like more like boxing. This is like we're getting through the YouTuber fight first, and then we're getting to the undercard, and then we get to the actual heavyweight bout. That's the kind of tier list we're going through, and then we're actually finding the good teams on our final day of the regular season.
Yep. That was an analogy. It certainly was one. Honestly, all I got out of that is you just reminded me of that ridiculous YouTube boxing match. But look, let's go ahead and actually look at the maps ahead of us. I think this is a wee smidge better than that. But overall, look, Dorado coming up next. Look, I'm going to throw the
We
bone.
are on
I'm going to
YouTube.
speak to the. Well, you're not wrong. Well, we're not certainly not boxing. I want to speak to something I mentioned earlier, and that was the whole, the Runaway end season buff, I suppose, the playoffs buff, because we have had fair criticisms of this team, but this has felt like a Runaway seriously starting to perform that little stretch higher. Look, as much as Team Diamond aren't exactly the hardest opponent in this group, not to discredit Team Diamond, but they're no talent, they're no T1, as we've resoundingly proven. This is a good sign for Runaway, and you've even mentioned Donghak's Ryan is really starting to look good now, and we've sort of said adequate but not great, and starting to go a little bit above adequate now.
At least versus Team Diamond, which is a good start. That test will continue as we move through into the Interleague, which at this point, both Runaway and Team Diamond have confirmed themselves into. It's just about where in that Interleague as far as seeding goes. And as a reminder, the winner of this match goes directly into third seed. The loser will be our fourth seed, still in playoffs, just in a more dangerous situation where, I mean, if you're the fourth seed here and you play that A4 versus B4 game, you lose, you straight away exit from playoffs. So that's pretty intense in terms of stakes. So final opportunity for Team Diamond before we get to see possibly the Runaway 3-0 or maybe a Team Diamond reverse sweep comeback.
Look, I'd love to see it, and I've felt that the possibility has been there this entire time. It just kind of feels like we haven't really been able to realize it. But as always is the case, the longer a series goes on for, with the team just not picking up any maps, any kind of wins, even, picking up sub-stages on control, that's when you've got to start to question that possibility. But this is exactly the start, as Becky just unleashes the beast, picks up 3 in a row, does go down, so the counter trades are there, but this is a good start for Team Diamond.
Okay, now, dude, if Incock doesn't die here, that's perfect. At that point as well, Becky 1 for 3 trade, beautiful. That's all you need to do. Incock dying, though, really kind of just changes this a little bit. It's now a 2 for 3 trade, where it favors the attackers because of respawn distance, and you can tell because of that, Runaway now have forward pressure. Ardo's up front. Team Diamond have lost positioning, and the cart's been free pushing.
That's the thing. They get the cart push just because of that, even though it ends up falling as a 3 for 2. However, it does burn a bit of time, and it gives Team Diamond, I was about to say, a possibility for a successful fight in the courtyard, but they're just not in position for it. They're constantly just a little bit split apart, a little bit separated, and I tell you what, Donghak on the ball loves that state of affairs. That being said, absolute rescue play from Team Diamond. They pick up 2, the sleep onto Ardo, they finish that one off. Inhyok this time backs away, doesn't die, rather, avoids death. The result was simple as nice, but Team Diamond have actually been able to find an anchored position now to fight from.
My goodness, Lego and Inhyok really saved the day there for Team Diamond. It was looking pretty dire. They lost 2 members, and that could have been the cap. Runaway were looking like, with a little bit more time, they round the bend, round the fountain, and the cart's there. That would have been it. Donghak's now been bionated, nearly dead. Surviving.
Becky lives there. That's critical. The nano boost now onto Inhyok. Even in the absence of a kill, he does get the one onto Merit. I was going to say, even in the absence, he's close enough to a primal that this is the start they need. And even then, won't need to use the primal in this fight with the way Gurio and Becky clean up a couple of kills. Ardo slips away barely, but Runaway. This is where the time loss is starting to kick in. Team Diamond is starting to hit their element.
You see Simple, by the way, holding on to Transcendence there. I think if you're Runaway, they are believing that Silvercoin already has a grab, so he's specifically trying to save the Trans for the grab here. Silvercoin's still 16% away, but he's going to have it for the next fight. And with Team Diamond being in this position where they've rebuffed enough attacks, this could happen for them. They've split enough time down.
Okay, quick swap onto the Winston. Becky actually goes over onto a Diva. Not sure how I feel about that one, but I guess there's not a lot of great targets. Gurio finding Merit's good. Ardo has to pop the primal, and the duplicated form is nearly bounced out of it. Otherwise, Chio Gets the res off, and Shock wasn't able to shut that one down, but now here we go. Self-destruct from the Duplicate D.Va. Kills off Simple. No Transcendence on the table. That's critical. Yeah, the grab just kind of disappeared into the ether there. Wasn't even eaten by FaZe. Not sure who it connected on, but certainly not enough damage to follow it up. That all being said, Runaway waiting for respawners. They may yet win this fight, but this has been a serious time loss, and here we go. Ardo's starting to go off again. This should be Team Diamond getting finished off here unless a miracle comes out of Becky and Silver Point.
Might have to trans this one because Chio's dead, Ardo's very low HP, Simple has to go for it, here it is. And for Runaway, it's going to cost some extra ultimates, might even need to use the self-destruct. Team Diamond is trying to respawn. Team Diamond can actually still contest this. They got close enough members and enough members alive.
They absolutely can. Silvercoin's going to come back on a D.Va just to help with that anyway. It's not like he had a lot of charge or a grab. They need to get on this card if they're going to do it, though, and here we go. Goodyo comes in. Becky eats a headshot. That's rough, but good shots from Merit, keeping the eye lines open. Gonna go ahead, commit the nano boost. Any Shock in a lot of trouble. Not getting anything out of that. That was enormously fast. That's a good pulse bomb over onto Simple, and Chio has swapped onto a Brigitte, so no res available. They couldn't yet rescue this, but I gotta say, it's gonna be all off the back of Goodyo. No tanks to really help him out. Wasn't picking up one, but no, Merit knows his marks. Another headshot onto Goodyo. He's headshotted both DPSs out of the fight. Now Becky looking to come in for, I don't know, another headshot, I suppose. Shock's back in the mix as well, but kills not quite coming through there. Becky gets the one. They're still in rescue mode, and they haven't had the explosive rack of kills. Dying just shy of a Duplicate as well, as I think it'll be all she wrote. And there we go, the cap is over.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that was competitive. Team Diamond, you know, even with the nano boost, I thought the nano was going to last a bit longer, but Inhyo gets destroyed. He doesn't even get the primal. The primal would have extended that fight. You know, Becky could have got the duplicate to use that to good effect. Team Diamond have the opportunity to still hold on. Was very difficult for Runaway, though. They had to expand extra ultimates. It wasn't looking clean. Had to really trip over a few hurdles to get to the finish line, but we are now on towards B. Let's see if Runaway can get a little more presence. Ardo straight away onto the duplicate.
That's a bit of a something. Oh, stunned out, not going to get a primal. That's a big find there for Team Diamond, just to sort of rob that extra tool from Runaway. Ardo, though, already back on the charge there with the next ultimate. And Shock going down anyway in the fight without using his own primal. Becky with the duplicate over onto the Wrecking Ball. I don't know if that's really your ideal marking. It's a minefield down, but doesn't slow up Runaway. FaZe with the self-destruct, creating a bit of forward pressure. Meanwhile, on the backline, Gurio's pulse bomb goes entirely wide, just goes off in the middle of the street there, and Runaway still picking up kill after kill. Starting to feel like Team Diamond have lost their mojo a little bit, not even slowing down Runaway a whole lot. It's about a minute left on the clock as this B-cap's looking likely to come through about now.
I mean, the problem is, I don't know where Quasar was, but he didn't end up getting the nano into Inhyo, and Inhyo dies without the primal. I know that just happened again, but this time Team Diamond probably trying to reset anyway. Becky goes to the duplicate on towards the Wrecking Ball. The minefield slows down the card significantly, so to me, that was actually okay. What you're seeing right now, though, is just Team Diamond losing further members to Runaway snowballing. That's fine for a few moments while Team Diamond just get their bearings straight, waiting for their full rack of respawns. But yeah, look, if the Nano plus Primal actually got played in the last fight when it was supposed to be played, that would have been Team Diamond actually holding on to B.
A little bit unfortunate the way the cards fall. So Nano moves on to Becky. He's not getting a whole lot. There we go. They finally get Dongak. It's helped them charge up a bit more ultimate. Silvercoin just shy of a self-destruct that could have otherwise reset the mech, and now that one kill on Dongak is looking like nowhere near enough. Absolutely have the primal. They are struggling to stay afloat in this fight, let alone even find trades. At least Ardo's duplicate just sort of ends there as Shock going down still, Becky dying, just shy of a duplicate, and it's just one disaster after another.
Yep, and now the mines on the entrance as well. This might not happen. Runaway have full 6 alive. Team Diamond don't have much at all.
I think this is it. Becky could come out with a duplicate, but what does he even go for? It just has to go for something tanky. Shock's not even able to touch the card. They can't do it. Runaway, once again, showing their prowess there, showing that they know how to crowd control as well as kill. The focus fire is there. No one's even able to touch the card and keep it contested. And that's to say nothing of kill after kill after kill with nary a counter trade in sight.
And now I have to revisit what I said earlier because I thought maybe it was okay. Yeah, Team Diamond are losing members still because of the snowball, but they would eventually reset properly. Then what actually ends up happening is once that reset comes on through, the nano was used onto Becky. We saw that kill on the Donkat goal. It's a 1-for-1 for now. But as the fight progresses forward and the dust starts to settle, Team Diamond continued to lose members. Runaway continue getting those kills. They have the Transcendence as well. Diamond don't get any trades. They get nothing done there. The Primal eventually used, as we saw, but even then, Inhyuk gets melted, so Team Diamond just never got to set up. Because they got snowballed all the way from B to C, one of the rare few times, by the way, that a full snowball happens from B to C. Most of the time, it will get stopped up, and the defender's advantage is going to overpower the attackers. Here for Runaway, it never stopped. What happened here on the C attack is what I thought was going to happen on the Kings Row C attack as well. Kings Row, though, Team Diamond actually managed to reset. Here, didn't happen.
Bit of an unfortunate fall of the cards there, and I mean, that was after a significantly competitive A. So, look, my eye is still on Team Diamond. I think they could still do it, but starting to feel like maybe this is what we could have seen on Kings Row if Team Diamond had done a little bit better on the defense, and even then, they weren't actually able to cap out on C anyway. So, my favor does still fall on the side of Runaway here, ultimately.
You see Donga, by the way, blocking the entrance of the teleporter. He knows that Diamond want to make this teleporter play. So he's just there to mark it, make sure that TDI can't actually go through. If they tried to go through, he would just knock them all down anyway. So a good opening by Runaway to just, be tricky about it, be a little bit sneaky, and push Team Diamond off. And Team Diamond now accepting their fate, just working slowly on the ground.
Dongak, that's a serious one. Oh, but he rolls away. 41 health, and he's going to live as well. That's absolutely bonkers. Team Diamond, I almost... Oh, look at that. Becky gets shot as well. I almost want to see a Mercy here on the side of Team Diamond for exactly this reason. They got a res potential. Chio, I mean, even if he doesn't res Ardo now, I don't think he actually can. They don't need to.
Inhyuk was on 1 HP there, and he still got a kill onto Ardo. I don't know how. But on like 1 HP, he kills Ardo, so that's quite interesting. And Ardo doesn't get res, but also at the same time, Ardo's a Tracer, so he'll get back in time. Team Diamond are just slowly trading here. Well, that was nearly environmental kills for Donga. Close.
Nearly a double environmental kill as well, but they're able to hang tight, go to ground, stay on the stairs. Whatever metaphor you like, because at this point, nothing's happening, right? The card isn't moving. No one's getting a serious advantage here. Runaway just sort of flanking kill after kill after kill. Now Silvercoin goes through, no counter trades, no really compelling positioning here from Team Diamond. I'm not seeing the play that they're going for. Becky goes deep into the back line, kills Simple, dies anyway. By the time Team Diamond are ready for another go-around, Simple's just rezzed anyway.
The problem here for Team Diamond is that Runaway can play the ball comp again. And when Runaway get to play the ball comp, you know they're in for a good map. They're in for a good time because this is their comp. This is what Runaway really want to do. This is the Runaway bread and butter for sure right now in this current meta. With this current team, no substitutions. They're playing with what they got, and I mean the damage is there. Look at it.
Already, I mean, compare this to how untouched Merit was for serious portions of A, especially in the later stretches where he was just popping off totally unanswered, unimpeded. Gurio has been marked so hard this entire time. I mean, at this point, you even wonder if he just goes on to something else so he can get more than just sitting tight and fishing for headshots while he gets picked off. Ardo gets headshots onto Gurio, can't even get the headshots out to his opposing DPSs.
We still haven't seen the Nano. We still haven't seen the Nano 2.5 minutes later. Quasit has had this for a while. And partially, this is due to the fact that...
Could have charged another by now.
You don't want to... It's not even just that. You don't necessarily want to use a Nano in a situation just to get card control. But that is how far ahead Runaway are. They're so far ahead that Team Diamond haven't even pushed. I mean, they're almost getting spawn camp. It's not quite, but for Dorado, this might as well be a spawn camp.
Just about. I will concede. Becky didn't die for him, but here we go. Where's it going to be? Nope, Lego dies to a pulse bomb. The Nano is committed onto Becky. Zenny with the Primal. They found one. They found Merit. Can they prevent the res? Because Becky's still having to duck for cover before going for something else, trying to see if they can catch Geo in disguise, but just nothing landing, nothing connecting. Inhyuk's Primal runs out, the Nano runs out. Becky is not close enough to a duplicate, and immediately Ardo pops off. He finds Gurio. Now you've got Donghack around the base. Anyone that comes out of the base is going to have to deal with him, and suddenly Team Diamond have to pull all the way back just so they can get those respawners out.
Yeah, this is a wild 3.5 minute spawn camp so far. Team Diamond can't get any trades. Even when Diamond get a kill, by the way, it does get res. They can't punish Chio. Like, Simple died a couple of fights ago, and that was like a good kill because Simple's going to take ages to come back to the fight. They get a res on him for free. Chio just, he's there. Team Diamond can't do anything to stop it. Inhyuk now onto a ball. They lose Curio straight away.
It was a similar story on the attack for Runaway, with Chio constantly getting really high value reses. We just didn't talk about it as much because there were so many other things going on, good things happening for Runaway. I mean,
It's a grab.
I think this is going to be it. I don't see Team Diamond really getting much more than this. They're going to be able to have the overtime fight, but this is nowhere near where you want the overtime fight to happen. They're so far behind. Simple is almost just doing a style transcendence up on the high ground, not even really near his team. Silvercoin gets the neck, dies to the bomb shots. Huge charge from FaZe. The grab was there. They find Lego. The bomb picking up another one. And I think that's going to be it. Team Diamond, they're not even getting out of here. I am gobsmacked.
That almost never happens. A Dorado spawn camp like that, where Team Diamond straight away can't even get to the cart, and the cart's pretty close to them, but they can't get the kills. There's never a situation where Team Diamond can effectively find the frags. They are always behind. The pressure from Runaway is so high. You talked about the simple transcendence there. That's because Becky, I believe, copied over onto, was Becky or Inhyuk, one of them. Inhyuk might have landed on him as the wrecking ball and pressured out the transcendence, but even then, like, he's got a transcendence just chilling there because he's not ever been pressured to use it previous to that. It's not like we're seeing a grab coming through. It's not like we're seeing anything else from Team Diamond being threatening enough. Team Diamond are not getting enough kills. And as I mentioned, even when Team Diamond get kills, just gets res because they can only get the one kill. They can never get enough kills to force Runaway back.
Yeah, and I mean, the net effect of that is just what was there in the bag for Team Diamond, right? We said it from the get-go. They couldn't beat the ball comp. Maybe they could beat the other comps. Couldn't even do that. And you even pointed out rightly there on Dorado, Runaway just got to play to the beat of their drum. And they got to play exactly what they wanted to play. So, look, if nothing else, the signal has been sent loud and clear. Look, it's not like Team Diamond are the greatest team in this league right now. They're obviously not. They're finishing in 4th place here. It has been a really tough group. It's been a tough pool overall across both groups. But the real I think flag being raised here is Runaway signaling very clearly to every team still standing, if you let us play this composition, this is how one-sided it could be. And that is going to be true for just about anyone. There is a point where Runaway's ball comp is starting to look good enough that, I think it could seriously even challenge the likes of T1 and Talon in their group. And we'll have to see if that actually ends up being true as they kind of move on towards the playoffs. Let's go ahead and actually look at that now. Let's take a look at how this is reflected in the standings, because we have established all of the finishing positions except the 1st and 2nd place seed in each group. We genuinely have somehow managed to save the best for last.
Yeah, I will say one other thing though. Runaway, they have played the other teams, and to be fair, Dongak's ball wasn't matching up. So Runaway, even when they did get to play the comps versus T1 and Talent, we're still just a little bit far behind. So we've established, I think, a hierarchy across the 2 groups where our top 2 teams are definitely far above the bottom 3 teams of each respective group. And then beyond that, the number 3 team is quite a bit better than the number 4 and number 5 team. And in some cases, the number 4 team is even then quite a bit better than the number 5 team as well. So that's been quite an interesting kind of dichotomy that we have here. And you might even see something better where we haven't seen this yet, but between Talent T1 and O2CC, if there is a 3-0 in there, and I really hope there isn't, but hypothetically speaking, if there is a 3-0 in there and one team is very much better than the other one, even in the 1st versus 2nd, then essentially what you have is, in any respective group, each single team that is above the other one is significantly better than the one below.
Which would be even a little bit unprecedented, and certainly it would make for an absolutely intense playoffs. I would rather not see that for what it's worth. I would rather see some close matches across tomorrow night. The reason for that as well is because those 4 teams, we're talking Talent, T1, O2, and CC, they all get to go into the playoffs. They're all going into those top 4 positions. 2 of them play in the interleague. Then we go into the bubble race, and those are still the 4 teams you're going to keep your eye on, where they're going to be able to get those rematches. They're going to be able to get, play against different people that they maybe haven't played before. Say T1 lose to Talon, and then they play CC, and then they beat CC, and O2 Blast lose to Talon, and then T1 get to play O2 Blast, and suddenly you're in a situation where, T1 is now a team that's played all of those other top 4 teams, and then they get the rematch against Talon in that playoffs. That would be that hypothetical. Like, that's the kind of story beat we're likely to see in these playoffs. What we don't know yet is exactly which team it's going to be, which team is going to be where. And like I said, somehow managed to save the best for last. Remember, these matches were meant to happen in week 2. Imagine that. The potential table toppers happening in the second week of play. Instead, we get the absolute treat, the anticipation of having it happen all the way at the end of the season, where I think it is going to be the most significant bellwether for the playoffs that it could ever be.
So if you thinking about skipping tomorrow's Contenders broadcast, don't, because that is the one that you want to be watching for sure. That is the
Don't be a
kind.
fool.
That is the matchup between all our top teams that we haven't seen for the entire season. The stakes are immense because basically the winner of those prospective matches, if you win that game tomorrow, you are automatically top 3 in the season minimum.
Yeah.
Because at that stage, sorry, if you win, you're top 2
You're
actually.
automatically top 2. Yeah.
If you yeah exactly, if you go straight to the A1 versus B1, so that's insane. And then at that stage, we're looking at first seed is a grand finalist. It all goes in the bubble race.
Yeah.
Winning here tomorrow for any of these teams is extremely powerful as far as your standings go into the actual playoffs themselves. But not only that, it's not just the stakes, guys. It's just the quality of games because no one
Absolutely.
in this entire competition has managed to touch any of these 4 teams. And so finally, we're going to see who's actually the best here.
And let's also reiterate here, I think is as good a time as any, the seed difference. Every single one of those 4 teams could end as high as a guaranteed first place seed into the playoffs. I'm not talking interleague, I'm talking playoffs. That is, you win your match tomorrow, you win your interleague match, boom. You are in the first place seed. You need to win one more match, it's the grand final. You're straight into it. You could lose tomorrow and then lose your interleague. You go down as far as 4th. You've got to win 3 in a row to win the grand finals. That is an enormous difference, especially when you consider those 3 in a row would be against those same top 4 teams. It's not like you play someone else. You lose, you drop down to 4th seed. You have to kick it up a huge notch going into the playoffs. So as we look to tomorrow, then into the interleague and beyond, the quality of matches is going to skyrocket. And that's to say nothing of what could happen at the lower end of that bubble race. There is still room for a dark horse to come through. There is still room for like a crazy resurgent runaway game where they suddenly push into that top 4. They dethrone whoever is trailing the pack of this top 4. It could all still happen, and it starts tomorrow. It is going to be breakneck from here until the end of the season.
That's it. That's all. It's pretty much it from me as well. Nothing further to add there. T1 versus Talon first. O2 Blast versus Team CC to follow that.
Going to be an absolute hell of a ride, and I cannot wait to climb aboard. But I have to wait another about 20 hours or so, and I hope to see you in those 20 hours. Like Avril said, if you were thinking about skipping, first of all, you shouldn't be in the first place. Second of all, definitely do not. We will see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. But for tonight, good night.